Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 195 and we're your host Jake
And Matt.
here to take you through all the action of Matchday 8 in Serie A.
Yes, as Milan are no longer first, overtaken by both Napoli and Roma after both sides won their games this week. Napoli beat Inter 3-1 in a, let's call it a Scudetto 6-pointer. Really fantastic goal by Scott McTominay over there, and a really good second half by Napoli. There's some really good drama there between Antonio Conte and Lautaro Martinez. Little bit of a throwback to the boxing match they had when they were both at Inter. Sassuolo 0, Roma 1. That is Roma's fifth 1-0 victory this season. Milan sank to, I believe, his third place. Milan 2, Pisa 2. Milan were 1 goal up. A few controversial goals later on in that game, which we will be getting into for both Milan and Pisa. Lazio beat Juve 1-0, and that confirmed the sacking of Igor Tudor. And they have since promoted the youth team coach as a caretaker manager. Please remind me his name, brother.
Coming right up, his name is Massimo Brambilla.
Yes, Juve's next-gen coach, who was recently out at Foggia, but Juve next-gen called him back, and now since he's gotten the promotion, and there are a few names linked with that role, including Spalletti, Mancini, Palladino, who of course is a former player, so a few options over there, and a lot to say about Lazio, who put up a really good fight in this game to get that 1-0 victory. Cremonese 1, Atalanta 1. Jamie Vardy is having a party. He scored his first goal for Cremonese in Serie A at 38 years old and celebrated with a super raw working class backflip. I absolutely loved it.
I had no idea he could do that.
Not even me. So you typically tend to take players on Fanta that could backflip and the like.
Yeah.
So you took Vardy and you didn't know that he could backflip.
Yeah, I took exactly. I took what's his name last season at Monza because he could backflip the new
yes.
striker they had bought. I forgot
his name because he was so
exactly.
unmemorable.
He didn't score a single goal. But
He had a really cool name like Gunner or something like that.
It escapes me, bro.
It'll come to me randomly.
It'll come, yes.
And so will I. Fiorentina 2, Bologna 2. That was Bologna were 2 goals up. There was a sensational goal by Castro over here. At a point, Bologna were 3 goals up, but Dalinga's goal was offside, and then Fiorentina got back into it with 2 penalties, and Bologna were reduced to 10 men, which really helped Fiorentina in this game. And Pioli lives to fight another day. Fiorentina still winless. Torino 2, Genoa 1, a late Marzipan goal. That's what we're calling him nowadays, Marzipan. Another great victory for Torino, who are showing that it was a step up that they took with Baroni. And again, a good victory over a team that is struggling, but they're always complicated to play against. 2-1, and they did come back from behind over there. Speaking of coming back from behind, Hellas 2, Cagliari 2. Hellas were about to get their first victory of the season, being 2 goals up. A gift Orban goal, of course. But Cagliari, through a goal by Idrissi and substitute Felici, they drew the game 2-2 in the 92nd minute. Udinese 3, Lecce 2. This was less back and forth than one might think. Udinese were they 2 goals up?
Udinese were 2 goals
They were 2
up.
goals
They were
up.
3-1 up, and
Lecce
then Ndri scored.
Exactly. Quite an entertaining game of football over there, and a good result for Udinese, who have been struggling a little bit recently, and will end things off with Parma 0, Como 0 as Parma failed to score yet again, but they did hold Como to a 0-0 draw, something that Juve didn't manage to do last week, of course. It's no easy feat. Before we get into anything, brother, what is your goal of the week? We had a lovely selection this time.
So, we filtered it down to Leao, Indri, McTominay, Anguissa, Maripan and Castro, all scoring beautiful goals this weekend. For me, it will have to be McTominay's goal, though, simply because he started the maneuver, and what a maneuver it was. He gave that chipped pass to Neres, who played the ball to Spinazzola, and while all this was happening, McTominay was literally running down the middle of the pitch while Acerbi was marking Neres. And Spinazzola played that ball. It was a fantastic ball, really high over McTominay. In fact, you could tell that just like the weekend, he was blinded by the light, McTominay, because he kind of ran in front of the ball and it bounced kind of awkwardly to his side. So he had to re-center himself, and he took the shot on. He took it with such perfect power and accuracy that he managed to beat Sommer first time. And what a goal that was.
Yeah, I think that has to be the goal of the week. For the sake of being different, though, so that goal was a half volley. I'm gonna give you a straight up fucking 2002 Zidane volley, bro.
Maripan. It was a fantastic
goal.
Yeah.
But Castro, you do not hit a volley sweeter than that. Yeah. That first the ball, like his leg was like at a 90-degree angle, hitting that ball and straight into the top corner like a laser, bro. That was an insane goal, and he's on every single font I have, Castro, because I thought it was going to be a breakout season for him. It still very much can be, but what a sensational goal by Castro.
It was great, and straight into the top corner as well. Like, it actually hit the corner perfectly.
Yes,
amazing
bro.
Goal,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we did have many goals this week because we highlighted that there weren't many goals last week. So yippee, Serie A, it's not always like that. Obviously, we had a bunch of 2-2s, 3-2s, 3-1s. So a very entertaining weekend of football. Just so you guys know, before we get into anything else, of course, there is midweek action taking place. Matchday 9 in Serie A going on pretty much as we speak. We're just waiting for the Napoli game to start. So we will be covering essentially both match days in the next episode, but we will be briefly going over Matchday 9 and focusing a bit more on Matchday 10.
In fact, brother, I'm going to need you to change the channel very soon, because it's not on this one. This is Fiorentina Inter, and Tatarusano is in goal from Fiorentina, and I'm pretty sure I saw Saponara with hair on the TV, so this is definitely is the wrong channel.
God, man, God.
That's not going to be
easy. That's not going to be
Sounds
easy.
Like a banger of a game, though this one Inter currently winning 2-1. But yeah,
is.
Okay, Nick will do it.
Nick,
Nice,
the
nice.
GOAT,
The
give
goat,
us a
the
scream.
Glory, glory,
Man United. Glory, glory, man. I'm so happy for you guys, man. Yeah. So back. I always support an underdog. So I love you guys. Before we get into anything, guys, of course, massive shout out to our media partners, Benevo Bid. Check out our link in bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. Most of the proceeds go to charity, and Christmas is coming up, so be charitable, be cool, get your boyfriend, get your girlfriend, get your lover, get your guma a lovely match-issued kit. Signed.
Gol di Grosso.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Gol di Grosso.
Gol di Grosso.
Gol di Grosso.
Yeah.
Gol di Grosso. Gol di Grosso. Andiamo Berlino. So check out the link in our bio. Get your bids in nice and early before the festive season really kicks in.
Yes, and hop on to our YouTube to see the really cool LED light behind me. Nice
Lovely.
Little detail.
A Jake Temu purchase, probably at 3 o'clock in the morning. Fucking.
And it does not look how I expected it to look. We had to keep it moving because it just looks like a stick. It looks like a red stick.
But a red stick. Yeah, that's cool. A lightsaber.
And we're all looking at it going, something's a bit off.
Look, we just want to prove maybe if we get more patrons or we get a sponsor, we won't have a fucking red stick, but we'll have red LED lights. Speaking of, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Nick. The game is on. Lecce Napoli coming up, of course, as Southern Battle. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and rate us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. If you are new here, we do need some extra love on Apple because we had some volume issues which we have since solved. So pop us a 5-star rating over there and we will love you forever. We do weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week, and even have bonus tactical analysis called Tactics Imperium by our football analyst Gianluca Lea. Shout out to Gianluca. And if you guys like Gianluca, go see, I had an episode with him just before the season started. You get to see some of his takes on how to watch football through the tactical lens, which is very interesting. If you really love us, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month. That nowadays cheaper than McNuggets. You'll be added to a Discord channel with 50 plus like-minded legends with multiple channels for different discussions, and you can win a free kit if you win our fantasy league. Brother, how's our fantasy league going?
Oh, it's David Vavra, still in first place with 627 points. In second place, there's Brandon, SSC Drees Nuts, with 609.5 points. And of course, there's Keen Fiend Kyler in third, Ardon's Hardon in fourth. Fifth, we've got Tim with Sheikh Retegi. Sixth, we've got Lotito Vendere Vattene. You might want to change that name, David, after this week. David Mastrobattista over there. Seventh, we've got Matt. Eighth, we've got Luke. In ninth, we've got Sarah. She's fallen down a little bit.
Damn.
And then 10th, we've got Norbert making an appearance in the top 10.
Hey,
I
Norby.
am fuming about our fantasy football.
Why, brother?
Because for the second week in a row, I am a man down, and I didn't see it coming at all for the second week in a row. Randomly, Sebastiano Esposito and Bonazzoli didn't play at all. So I was a man down in attack. I had a Vardy goal, a Leao goal. All I needed was someone else play. I still got 69 points, but would have been a lot better if I hadn't been a man down.
Yep. Shame, brother.
Shame.
I'm really upset for you. I'm in 14th, so
Yeah,
I'm
14th.
really
You're
climbing
close,
up.
you're close.
When you said Matt, it's of course Matthias. Shout
Yes.
out Matthias. Matt, which is me, I am in 14th. Almost level on points with Grog Gilmore just above me, and Keenan won't stop just above me as well. And Catenaccio Maxi, which is Alan.
Yeah, that's definitely Alan.
in 11th. Shall we start with Napoli Inter, brother? That is your game, so take it away.
Yes, and what a game it was, bro. We finally saw Conte rolling the dice and trying something different from the start, and then, of course, an injury forcing him to go back to his old ways, and watching Napoli essentially at their best
Yes.
again.
May I say, of course, coming off a devastating 6-2 midweek
Of
loss to
course,
PSV
yes.
Eindhoven, who we're watching in the Netherlands in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, it's going to be a fun one, that. They've got some very interesting players. So it was Vanja Milinkovic-Savic in goal, not Sergei, in a 4-1-4-1 looking formation with Di Lorenzo, Juan Jesus, Buongiorno and Spinazzola at the back. Gilmore was playing in front of the defence with Politano and McTominay out wide, Anguissa and De Bruyne in the middle, with David Neres playing as a false 9 up front. For Inter, it was Sommer in goal in a 3-5-2 formation with Bastoni, Acerbi and Akanji at the back, Di Marco and Dumfries playing out wide with Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu and Barella in the middle, while Boni and Lautaro partnered up front. So, he ditched the traditional number 9, Conte, and he went all in on fluidity. He kind of took advantage of the fact that Acerbi is a fantastic man marker. And if you have a striker like, I don't know, the likes of like Duvan Zapata or Lorenzo Lucca in this case, that's when that's when Acerbi has a field day going physical, man to man. So he decided to go for something more fluid to really stretch and pull players out of position and to really keep Acerbi on his feet, and it worked beautifully. Let's just go through what happened in the game, and then we'll talk tactics later.
Yeah.
So Inter had the stronger first half. They got close through Bastoni and Lautaro, missed a one-on-one after Spinazzola's terrible mistake. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
At one point,
the square
Spinazzola
ball.
literally squared the ball to Lautaro, got him one-on-one, and Vanja had to pull off a massive save. They pressed high and forced Napoli deep, but then eventually there was a very controversial penalty call where Mickey clipped Di Lorenzo in the box and the ref awarded a late penalty. We'll discuss this later on. Mickey went off injured after this contact, and Zielinski came on instead of him, and the Napoli fans, of course, jeered as their ex-player came on. De Bruyne slotted the penalty home, but pulled his hamstring in the process and was replaced by Oliveira. And at this point, like, everyone was like, what the hell is happening? Even the commentator was like, what is going on, Patrick? It's true, because two injuries, like two crazy incidents and two injuries happened back to back. Yes, Bastoni hit the crossbar with a header. Lautaro went on to miss another golden opportunity, and Dumfries hit the post yet again at the end of the half with a header. So the second half kicked off and Inter came out threatening, but a fluid counter-attack involving Neres, Spinazzola and McTominay resulted in McTominay's sensational goal, our goal of the week. He spanked in Spinazzola's perfect long ball from the edge of the box. In the 56th minute, Buongiorno clumsily handled Lautaro's header, giving away a penalty, which Çalhanoğlu converted, as he typically does. Buongiorno had tried to use his arm, I think, to knock Lautaro off balance, but he was a little bit too far from him. And of course, he ended up giving away. He ended up handling the ball.
Absolute ring rust by Buongiorno.
Literally, not doing very well. At one point, Conte accused Dumfries of diving, and it all kicked off in the second half. Lautaro gestured something very strange to Conte, and Conte went on to call him a dickhead. Lautaro really milked it, and I'm surprised he didn't get any booking or anything from it. It was Conte who got the yellow card, maybe. Because he started it, you know. I don't know what the referee's logic was, but to me it seemed like Lautaro went a little bit too far with the gestures, you know. I don't know. I was expecting him to get booked over
his
there.
Signals to his cock, which was interesting.
It was interesting. I'm not quite sure what he was saying.
The apparent translation which I saw was "You're pissing yourself, mister." And then Conte replied to him, said, "Go score, come on, go score,
dickhead. Segna, testa di cazzo." Yeah.
Conte didn't piss himself and Lautaro didn't score, so they were both essentially...
They're both wrong.
Yeah.
A few minutes later, Neres did very well to hold up the ball and lay it off to Anguissa, who scored what you could call a fantastic solo goal, right? He drove so far and ended up finishing so cleanly and satisfyingly into the top corner.
In the
poor
classic,
defending by Dumfries and Akanji.
In the classic way that Inter have been conceding goals with these marauding runs down the middle, man. Once again.
Exactly, and Inter couldn't create anything else. And Napoli essentially saw the game out pretty effortlessly. There was one shot from Pio Esposito at the end, but that's pretty much it. So the game ended, bro. If you look at the stats, let's look at the XG, for example, here. You have Inter with 1.88 and Napoli on 1.25 XG. For me, I saw a different story.
To be fair, so did I. And I know that penalties tend to skew that, so I'm surprised Napoli's is so low with 1.25.
Right.
I guess we didn't see the same game. Inter, of course, had double the attempts with 15 shots, which did include some clear-cut opportunities, some that Lautaro had that he scuffed a little bit. But I don't understand why Napoli's XG is so low, especially with the penalty.
I understand why it's low on McTominay's goal and maybe on Anguissa's, I guess. Anguissa's should have had more of an XG, I don't know. But yes, it was I thought that Napoli performed incredibly well. They caught Inter off guard. They literally played kind of a Gasperinian style game where they man-marked and they essentially confused the Inter players, pulling them out of position and attacking through the middle, as you said, exploiting Inter's biggest weakness by far.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought Inter had the stronger first half, as you said as well. I think they looked a bit more ready for the occasion, while Napoli still seemed a little bit shell-shocked from the 6-2 defeat that they had midweek to PSV. However, in the second half, it was a completely different story, and we've banged this drum a little bit during the podcast. That is... we're not sure if the De Bruyne McTominay system and the four central midfielder system is really working for Napoli. And even though they were 1-0 up when they had that system going for them, they seemed a lot more fluid in the second half when De Bruyne was off the pitch. I don't think it's a De Bruyne issue. I think it's a systematic issue. But again, with the introduction of Oliveira and it looking a bit more just like a classic good old 4-3-3 formation at the end of the day, it looked like they created the better chances. Now, of course, Inter in that period, they were trying to come back from behind, which they did through the penalty goal, of course. So there were moments where Inter were attacking more than Napoli, and then Napoli in turn through their counters had a lot more space to attack in. But that also involved the smart movement of Neres up front, and I think that false nine system really worked well for them, and that is such a it's such a Conte move, eh?
It
Instead
is.
of look at the big striker because of Acerbi, you go for someone that can stretch the lines, and that still empowers McTominay to get in behind and find himself in those
Yeah.
situations. And is it a
Yeah.
coincidence that when De Bruyne went off, McTominay came in and scored like good old Scott of last season does, man?
Literally. That was the whole idea, right? Neres pulls the centre back out, and McTominay and Anguissa can run into the box like they did last season. I guess he was hoping that De Bruyne might be able to do something similar. But long-term injury for De Bruyne, it's a serious one, his hamstring. I believe it's like 3 months out, so we won't be seeing him this year again. Yeah, because we're at the end of the year already, bro. Crazy.
Yeah.
When I heard he's out for the rest of the year, I was like, what? Then I realized there's a March left.
2 months.
Exactly. Let's talk about that penalty,
Which
bro.
means
a little
Lukaku
bit.
is soon back as well.
Lukaku's
Because
soon
he's
back,
out till
yeah.
Christmas, and Christmas is soon, Benevobid.
Yes, exactly. The penalty, bro. For me, soft. Of course, the fact that the referee kind of let the play continue and let them get to the halfway line before calling playback and revisiting and actually calling the penalty made it look a little bit suspicious or made it more frustrating for Inter fans. But what did you think of the penalty, man?
So I thought it was soft. I think it's a game's gone kind of penalty. I think with VAR, when you slow that down and you see the slow down version, you give the penalty. But what I found odd was, of course, there was like a 10-second wait between the incident and when the referee blew his whistle and pointed to the spot, which I just found a little bit weird. And I'm under the impression, man, I don't know if I'm wrong to think this, but isn't it if the referee doesn't deem contact significant enough, then VAR can't
I don't think
change
VAR it was the linesman who called it, bro. The linesman told the referee through the headpiece. He told him that's a penalty because the ref cam has been released.
Okay.
And the referee asked him, "Are you sure?" And that's why there was a little bit of a delay. And the linesman said, "Yes, I'm sure." And then he called it back. He called the penalty. And because there wasn't a clear and obvious error, I guess, in the fact that the penalty was awarded, he didn't go to the monitor to check. For me, that I can understand that Mkhitaryan clipped Di Lorenzo from the back, but the fact that Di Lorenzo's leg was extended because he had taken too much of a heavy touch, I don't know, it seemed it's too harsh.
And the keeper's about to collect
Yes,
the ball.
man,
Situationally, you
yeah.
look at that and it doesn't look fair, right?
Yeah.
But the second you slow it down and you find that contact, man, in today's game, again, it's a game's gone kind of penalty. When you slow it down and you see the contact,
it
you're
wasn't
like,
even slowed
like,
down.
okay,
and
he was about to strike the ball,
Yeah.
and there was contact made, penalty given. I find that if you zoom out, you get the angle from the top, and you see that the keeper's about to claim the ball. Di Lorenzo really positions himself in front of this,
He plays
the
for it,
defender.
huh?
He plays for it. It's also kind of what you have to do as a striker. You have to minimize the opportunity of the defender getting to the ball before you. So you block it, and he'll end up going through you as he tries to collect the ball. So it's not exactly a, like a strategic to win the penalty. It's a situational thing that every single player should be doing.
Yeah.
But it's harsh. It's the classic one, and I just want a little bit more consistency, because you'll see
Yeah.
soon in the Fiorentina Bologna game when we're discussing that, how isn't the foul on Bernardeschi a penalty?
Yeah, that was really
because
bad.
it's essentially,
and that cost them 2 points.
It cost them a man, because on the
Yeah.
counter attack there was a red card. And after the red card, they scored another penalty, and then which
Yeah.
they got for a handball. So this week was definitely the worst officiating I've seen yet this season. In the Milan game, two
Milan
goals
game,
shouldn't have
yeah,
stood at
literally.
the
That
end,
should have
man.
been a
Both
1-1.
Pisas and both Milans.
Yeah,
It's odd. It's odd.
It is very strange officiating, definitely. So we'll see. A bunch of referees or former referees and former players have come out and said that they disagree with the decision as well. So
You know who always has an opinion, man? Capello always has an
Capello,
opinion. must, yeah.
They always ask him these questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, Unk.
None, Allah, no.
No,
Not Ank
Literally.
anymore.
Yeah. Fofana, by the way, is Unk.
Yes, Fofana is the Unk. Like he's over
Unk
the
status.
barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
And playing a bit too
The whole
rough in
time.
a five-a-side with the boys around him.
Yeah. But anyway, we talked about the man marking tasks. Just to point out some of them, we had Neres on Acerbi, Politano on Bastoni, De Bruyne on Akanji, Gilmore on Çalhanoğlu, McTominay on Barella. Anguissa seemed to be on both Mkhitaryan and then Zielinski when he came on, while Di Lorenzo and Spinazzola were on the wing-backs.
Yes, I was impressed by that approach because I'm of the opinion that the last thing you should do against Inter is go man for man.
Yeah.
Because they play in such a they're all changing position a lot more. They used to do that a lot more
before,
under Simone.
Yeah.
So maybe that is something Conte spotted that I didn't.
Yeah.
But a really interesting approach that they took that got them success, and the way that Napoli continued to grow into the game as Inter seemed to be getting tired out as the game went on. Napoli were wearing them out slowly. A really good victory over there.
Massive.
A really good victory for Napoli.
Who is your man of the match?
What a phenomenal question that is.
Thank you. Just thought of it on the fly.
My man of the match is probably Anguissa,
Yeah,
man.
same.
I thought Anguissa
He's a
was
monster, man.
amazing.
He's a fucking
And
monster.
so like we talk about Manu Kone so much. We talk about Kefren Turam so much, and we talk about
Rabiot,
these Rabiot, these box to box midfielders, and we almost always look past this guy. A little anecdote I like to say all the time is when Anguissa and Lookman were at Fulham, they got relegated, and they've really found their places since then. But Anguissa is, in my opinion, one of the first names on the team sheet for every Napoli across the past 3-4 years, over 3, 4, 5 managers.
Yeah, he is sensational, man. This game he was absolutely everywhere, and he can do anything. He can do anything. He is the refined. Remember when Milan had Frank Kessie?
Yes,
He is Frank Kessie refined. dude.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He is amazing, man. What a
He
player.
makes up for the lack of strength that Kessie
Yeah.
had. Not lack of strength, it's just everyone has a lack of strength in comparison to Kessie.
Kessie,
But he makes that up with the technique that he has
technique
as
is-
well, man. The
yeah,
close
yeah.
ball control, the way he can drive forward, and the goal that he scored.
Yeah.
All his momentum is on the left side, and he hits it with his left into the right corner.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It
man.
was a wicked
Brilliant.
goal, to be honest.
Brilliant. What did you make of? I've been seeing criticism about Sommer in this
So-
game. Of course, again for the second time this season. Sorry to cut you off. The amount of attempts
On
a team
target.
had versus Sommer on target were the amount of goals that they had, which calls for soft goalkeeping. Now, one of them is a penalty. One of them is that McTominay goal. And then the other one is that Anguissa goal. So, in my opinion, you can't really blame Sommer, man.
I think so. Inter right now find themselves in a situation where Acerbi has no real replacement. Okay, let's be real. A centre back wasn't signed. Like Akanji plays more on the right side, right?
I was
So-
expecting Akanji to take on the Acerbi role, I'm going to be honest.
to
But
be
losing
fair.
Pavard, and then they had to
exactly.
pull that.
But Josep Martinez was signed, I assume, to eventually become the starter, and like they need to make sure that he's ready to become the starter. This is what Dan was saying on Discord, our resident Inter fan. He was, shout out to Dan, he was going on about how next season they need to see, Inter need to see if they're going to start with Martinez or if they're going to need to sign someone new, and now is the time to see if Martinez is good enough. So why aren't you playing him, And it's not like Sommer is pulling off miraculous saves. Au contraire, he didn't even pull off a single save, I think, this game, right? 3 shots on target, 3 goals. However, breaking news, Josep Martinez. Reports in the Italian media came out that Martinez was involved in a fatal accident that saw him run over an elderly person in a wheelchair fatally. Yes.
Oh man.
An 81-year-old who was crossing, who was moving on an electric wheelchair in a lane reserved for cyclists. He decided to cross the road and was hit by the car being driven by Martinez. The Inter goalkeeper immediately stopped his car to give first aid to the elderly person, but he didn't manage to save him. But maybe he can save a shot on target.
Yeah, well. phenomenal.
Terrible news.
Phen-
Our thoughts are with the family of the
with the
elderly man.
family, and God knows the
And
the,
Martinez,
the
right?
shock the
Must
kid
be,
is
yeah,
under, because
yeah.
he's a young guy, a young boy.
Yeah.
Martinez, and you see a lot of those cases where people drive off in those scenarios, and of
Yeah.
course he stopped right the first day. That
Yeah.
it must be devastating to watch a guy you hit on your car die in your arms. Like, man, he must be, even if for legal reasons or whatever, because it is involuntary manslaughter, he won't be on the pitch. God knows the amount of therapy that goes into someone having done that before they can actually perform again, man, or do anything again, really.
Yeah,
It takes a
this is,
mental toll, eh?
Psychologically, it's a very complex situation.
Yeah.
I mean, killing someone. I mean, fucking hell.
Jeez Louise, man.
So, I assume summer will be starting this.
Yeah,
this month, right?
I guess so.
Let's move on a little bit to Inter. Great performance by Napoli all round. Politano, as always, so hard working. Di Lorenzo had one of his better games. Juan Jesus has showed that he has matured as a centre back, and he's really become quite
He's had to.
deployable. Yes,
He's had to, because Rahmani's been out.
Yeah.
Buongiorno has
it's
been
always
out as well.
a crisis when Juan Jesus is starting. That means there's been a crisis, but he always makes it feel like they're not missing anyone.
And the thing is, over the past 2 seasons, they literally made signings to address that, no? Because
Yeah.
it was always Rahmani with someone. It was Rahmani with Koulibaly, and then they finally decided to replace him because it was Rahmani and Juan Jesus. They said we need someone better than Juan Jesus, even though we won the league with him. So they signed Buongiorno, who's been, well, injured or awful, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I always loved Buongiorno, but he's showing the ring rust. And then after that, they signed Beukema, who has been a bit of a slow burner as well. So Juan Jesus has had to step up, and he's done a good job of becoming a Napolitan in this period. He's the kind of guy that when Milan celebrated after beating them, they celebrated hard. He was talking shit about Milan, and
Yeah.
there's one way to get the Napoli faithful behind you, is to talk a bit of smack about the opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. On Buongiorno, bro, I think that the biggest problem is that he hasn't got a good run of games.
And
He's
exactly.
always interrupted by an
Exactly.
injury. So yeah, agreed. Gilmore has made Lobotka's injury easier to stomach, while the old guard is proving to be extremely reliable, and Spinazzola seems to have reinvented himself almost. He's not just about pace like we saw in the Euros nowadays. Nowadays he's almost like a playmaker out
Bro,
wide.
bend it
He
like
plays-
Spinazzola.
He's
Bend
been
spin it
very-
like Spinazzola, man.
Nice.
Spin that Zola.
Spunk it like spinner.
Honestly, one of the standout performances for Napoli this season.
Yeah.
They're really, you'd think they signed someone who, of course, had that devastating injury, not exactly at a young age, and he's not exactly someone that isn't injury prone. He's had
Yeah.
a few injuries. I'm really hoping he could stay fit, because if he stays fit, he could make the 11 of the best players of Serie A this season,
Yeah.
because so far he's been the best left back in the league, hands down.
Yeah,
hands
yeah,
down.
Yeah, fair enough. Best left back in the league
So far.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
far.
I think so, actually.
Probably.
I mean, who's it going to become, Biazzo?
Well,
Uh,
there's. I want to say something about Inter's defense, because I missed this when you were speaking earlier. Bissek is not an option anymore, man.
I mean, to be fair, he hasn't really been given much trust by Kivu. Under Inzaghi, he seemed to be getting more trust.
Because now they signed Akanji, and I was really seeing Akanji as being, with his experience, being that center
The
back,
anchor.
the anchor,
Yeah.
and then having Bissek as a right centre back, and Bissek is definitely for the style of play that Kivu is going for, which is high line, push everyone forward.
Even join the attack. Like he can do that well, Bissek.
Acerbi and Akanji are not recovery centre backs,
Not at
and
all.
you see a big gap. You already saw last season that big gap between the midfielders and the defenders. This year it's been a bit more prominent, especially in the opening 8 games. I feel like, I'm not saying Bissek is the answer, because he's quite error prone, but physically I think he's more of a fit to take on that right centre back role, and perhaps Acerbi and Akanji can either rotate, or Akanji could be a nailed on starter, really, or depending on they play 3 competitions, so that's something that they can experiment a bit with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's no coincidence, right, that you see that Inter looked a little bit soft, man, in the middle. Like, they were too easy to cut through. And then when you realize that they've got Mkhitaryan and Acerbi playing, for example, and then you've got a high line with the likes of Akanji, Bastoni, and Acerbi, then no shit, you know. And you're up against players like McTominay and Anguissa and Neres, who have all this energy, and it's a good combination of energy and strength against a team that's either old or I'm sorry, they look a bit burnt out. Like don't get me wrong, Inter came into this game flying with 7 straight wins in a row and a chance to leapfrog Milan. So this is far from a crisis, you know. But it just seems that in some of these games they're missing something, to be honest. Like Lautaro isn't stepping up when he has to. Acerbi's showing his age. You know what I mean? In midfield, there's no real ball winner. You know, you can't have Mkhitaryan as your sole ball winner. In fact, when Zielinski came on, granted he showed some good things, but still there was no ball winner in that midfield.
And I mean they spent a lot of the mercato trying to sign Manu Kone, trying to produce some kind of miracle over there. But they decided, look, central midfielder isn't what we want, and they had already signed Sucic, who, to be fair, could fill that role a little bit, albeit he's a little bit different. He's more of a regista in that sense, but we've seen him win the ball back. He's capable of doing that. But I think in this case it was more a Conte masterclass than it was the deficits of Inter, because last week we were praising Mkhitaryan for his work ethic, you know. But
yeah, it's the problem is you can't rely on him so frequently, man. And
this is what we said last year when they were playing the 3 competitions. They have the oldest squad apart from Real, Valladolid in the top 5 leagues, you know. They still have that problem. They have some younger strikers nowadays and whatever, but they still have an aging squad that needs to put up with all that, and a change in manager isn't gonna solve that, you know.
Of course, there were moments where Inter could have got something done. They hit the post twice, of course. Lautaro missed those 2 opportunities, and that's where I think that Lautaro as captain has to step up over there. I mean, you can't have the likes of Boni and Esposito excite the fans more than the main guy. You know
Yeah,
I mean?
that's true. That's true. We've seen over the past 2 seasons. Well, 2 seasons ago he was the capocannoniere, and ever since then we've seen him be a little bit streaky. Lautaro Martinez. I was gonna make a point as well. Yes. Inter have a tendency of conceding a lot of goals in these big matches, in these Scudetto 6-pointers. They conceded 4 against Juve, and now they've conceded 3 against Napoli. That has to be addressed. They are leaking goals in these games, and they could go on a 7-game winning streak against the bottom teams, which could win them the Scudetto, because it is the majority of the games you play are against teams that are smaller than you if you're Inter. So they still have something good going on for them. However, if they are going to be schooled by more experienced managers in these head-to-heads, then maybe there's something that they have to do. Either it's funny, they don't need more experience in the team, you know what I mean? Perhaps what they need in these scenarios, you'd wish that they had a more experienced manager, but he's there getting the experience. Kivu, I don't think he's failed by any stretch of the imagination thus far. This was a tough game against the champions, right?
Exactly, and I think the way he set up the team from the get-go was decent, and I thought that Inter had a strong first half. The problem was that he was outsmarted essentially by Conte,
and the
right?
controversial penalty,
and yes, of course, but yes, that Neres move was a masterstroke.
Because if they went into the second half at 0-0, it could have been a completely different game. So yeah,
absolutely.
Referees.
Yes, and that is that. What a game this was, bro! It had a little bit of everything. It was fiery. The fans were amazing. There was one shot of Dumfries sat on a cooler at the end, or on the bench. I think it was on a cooler. I'm not sure if I'm just editing the picture in my mind as we speak. But the stadium was all dark and everyone had their torches out. And it was
cool, man.
Amazing.
I love Napoli, man.
Beautiful.
I love Napoli.
Yeah.
So Napoli are now first, tied on points with Roma, who beat Sassuolo away from home 1-0. Now, of course, you know that it is away to Sassuolo when the stadium is full of fans wearing the away team shirt. But they did have the section. I was really happy. I think that Serie B overhaul that Sassuolo had, the fact that they destroyed everyone in Serie B, it reminded fans what it's like to support a local team that can dominate and that are entertaining to watch. So they did have more supporters in, which is nice, and a lot of young people watching Sassuolo. So hopefully that's a new wave of fans coming through. There have been 11 previous meetings between these two sides in Emilia. 1 win for the Neroverdi, 4 draws and 6 victories for the visitors, now 7 of course. Sassuolo, they came into this game undefeated in their last 3 matches. They were having a really good run, and Roma were coming into this game with a few recent losses. Of course, they lost the game to Inter, and Roma have really been struggling in the Europa League, as they recently lost to both Victoria Pilsen and Lille. Sassuolo had Boloka, Muharemovic, Skielrup and Satallino out, while Roma had Angelinho out, and Manukone wasn't 100%, but he did play 90 minutes. It was a 4-3-3 formation for Grosso's men, with the very talented Muric in goal, a backline of Valukovic, Jay, Itzes, Romagna and Doig, midfield 3 of Manukone, Nemanja Matic and Tordsvet, Fadera on the left, Berardi on the right and Pinamonti leading the line. For Gasperini's men, Jesus, I was going to say Ranieri for a second. 3-5-2 formations, Villar in goal, backline of Zeki Celik, Mancini and Indica, Wesley out on the right, Tsimikas out on the left, midfield 3 of Ainawi, Cristante and Kone, with Dybala and Bailey up front. I just noticed that I did say Manu Kone for Sassuolo, my mistake. You see where I got confused. In the 16th minute, Paulo Dybala opened the scoring. He scored the only goal of the match, naturally, following a well-coordinated sequence initiated by Evan Indica and Brian Cristante. It was a rebounded goal for the false 9. In the second half, Sassuolo applied pressure but failed to capitalize on clear goal-scoring opportunities. Roma's defense held firm, securing their 5th clean sheet of the season. I did think that Sassuolo started the game more strongly, and this was way more prevalent to us because we had a Roma victory and our betting slip, and Sassuolo were really knocking, and they had a strong start. And in fact, the first goal that came, it was a counter attack for Roma, and once Roma go 1-0 up, more often than not, they are going to win the game 1-0. And this is the main point I want to drive home. Last season, Roma started off really struggling. They brought in Juric, that failed, and then they brought in Ranieri. And with Ranieri, they went on the streak of 1-0 victories, and they're like, God, what have we had this whole season? No, because they went from like 15th place to 5th, and they almost made Champions League. There's the last match day of the season that didn't get them Champions League. And that is exactly what they're getting this season. All these 1-0 victories, just 2 losses against Torino and against Inter. But finally, they had a 1-0 victory where they underscored their XG, because they had an XG of 1.75. Pellegrini hit the post, Wesley missed an absolute sitter at the end. But the sequences looked a bit better for Roma. I like their 2 up top system. At times it looked like 2 players behind the striker with El Ainawi and Pellegrini. I thought Pellegrini did look better, and I thought when Dovbyk came on,
he held the ball
actually
up well,
very good.
Very good. He the way he held the ball up for Wesley was really good. At first I thought he wasn't going to release, and it would have been extremely frustrating if he hadn't. But then he released perfectly, and Wesley just failed to hit the target, right?
In theory, this Dovbyk up top could work, considering the fact that they have so many talented players around him, right? Because they have the likes of Solé, the likes of Dybala, El Ainawi, we've seen him score in other leagues. Pellegrini, we see him score as well. They've got Manu Kone, who's no stranger to goals. It could work, it's just not Gasperini's system.
I don't know why he doesn't like him. I mean, explain to me.
He misses the chances that he missed last week, eh?
Okay, yes, sure, but Gasperini's a manager who got a lot out of a player like Duvan Zapata.
As a bomber.
Dovbyk as a profile is quite similar, I would say, to Duvan Zapata. No, I would say Dovbyk's even more technical than Duvan Zapata. Duvan Zapata then is colder in front of goal, but you're looking at Dovbyk, you've got the La Liga top scorer. You know
Yeah. Absolutely. It seems like he's already forgotten about Evan Ferguson. It seems like Evan Ferguson isn't even a contender for that starting slot, which hurts. I think if he's in the team and he's not going to get any minutes, send him out on loan. You didn't sign him from a top team. He wasn't playing at a super high level week in, week out. So I think Evan Ferguson on loan at I don't know, man, Torino,
Yeah,
Genoa, something
sure.
like that for half a season max. I think that could really help him.
Honestly, send him to Genoa in January. I mean, Colombo.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. Do a swap deal and let
Exactly.
Colombo rot on the bench.
Yeah,
However, Roma, I can't help but feel that it's not sustainable the way that they're winning games. Yes, they're top, and I am impressed by the level of consistency they've shown. But these 1-0 victories, they are not 1994 Milan. They are not going to win the league with 34 goals. Defensively, they've been solid. Svilar is great, but you could see it in them. They can concede goals. They can concede goals. The amount of times we see Mancini really slow to track back, like we saw a few weeks ago as well, and they have a clear-cut opportunity on the other end. It's gonna happen, and they can very much. If you're not capable of scoring, you're gonna lose games and you're gonna get draws. Look what happened to them against Torino. Look what happened to them against Inter. If you can't put your chances away and the maximum amount of goals that you can score in a game is 1, it's not good enough. And I think they really need to work. It's a fucking Gasperini team that we're talking about. How aren't they putting away more goals, man?
I think they're setting the foundations to do that. And to be honest, right now, the priority would be to not overcommit and risk losing games. And the fact that they're managing 1-0 victories is massive, to be honest with you. It's a great start. It's better than I expected.
Laying
to be honest.
foundations, eh?
Laying foundations, exactly. And you know, the goals right now haven't really come from systemic movements, but more from like isolated instances, like rebounds and things like that.
Exactly.
So I tend to agree with you, but I do like what Roma are doing. They've put together a solid team. To be honest, Mancini has impressed me quite a bit, and it makes sense because he's worked with Gasperini at Atalanta, right? Before. So yeah, Kona, of course, one of the best bloody midfielders in the league.
And Dika is a monster as well, man. No,
Yeah,
it is good. I don't want to come across as overly negative
and
for
to be
Roma.
fair to Roma in this game as well, pretty much it was dominance all over the board. Muric had 7 saves compared to Zvilar's 1.
But that's my problem.
Yeah.
If you dominate a game like that, you're gonna want to see more goals.
Uh-huh.
There's a point that I'll make about Milan later on.
But the problem with Roma earlier up until this point was that they weren't creating these chances, so it wasn't sustainable.
True.
But now the fact that they're actually creating a few chances, and granted, okay, they didn't score many this game, but that's a good sign, right? Because if you create a lot, you score a lot. Or you score more than 1.
Sure, if we're talking about their journey into becoming this Gasperini side, then sure, or at least a bit more of a balanced team than Gasperini side.
Yeah.
So sure, they're on the right track. Just this goal scoring issue that does need to be addressed quite aggressively. To jump to Sassuolo, they did have a scare when Berardi went off injured with a head injury, but scans have shown no major trauma, unlike us, brother. They will continue monitoring him. I doubt he'll play today or tomorrow, whenever they're meant to play. But he'll be back soon. He even posted on Instagram saying all is good. For Sassuolo, they came into this game 3 games undefeated. They're really showing that they were never a Serie B side to start with, and now after this defeat they play Cagliari and Genoa, where they can continue to build on the momentum that they previously had, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to watch both of these sides. Sassuolo, I think, will use this year to kind of re-establish themselves in the Serie A, and then I wonder how they'll move in the market, because coming up I thought that they made some very smart choices with their signings. I like what they did at the back, signing the likes of it says holding on to Josh Doig and Muharemovic.
Muharemovic is great.
Bringing in Falikandi as well for some experience. Ranks has been quite a coup. You know, they did some decent things for their first season back in Serie A. I'm curious to see how they build on it. Do they want to push for an Europa League again? You know, that's what they've done it before.
It'll take them a few seasons. I think they're a 13th, 12th kind of team right now, which is already great for a newly promoted team. I thought what they did with Pinamonti was a pure masterclass, man. Keep him in Serie A playing for Genoa. Keep our starting number 9 playing at top flight. Don't worry, man. We'll be fine with Mulattieri in Serie B. Then you come back and you have Pinamonti, who of course hasn't been the cream of the crop, you know what I mean? Keep in mind also Fadera started this game, not Lauriante. He wasn't 100% and he came on a little bit later as well. But I am impressed by Sassuolo.
Where is Mulattiri?
Great question.
Is he out?
They
I don't
also
know.
had another striker, a taller one, if I'm not mistaken. last
Samuel
season. I remember covering it.
Mulattiri. He's at Deportivo.
That
And-
Deportivo.
And he's 25 nowadays already. What? What? Okay. And he last scored against Leganes.
Ooh,
A few games ago,
Leganes.
like 10 games ago.
Okay.
Okay.
You remember when I was a La Liga nerd? How
I
funny that
remember.
is.
You still pull up some weird, obscure memories and stats.
Yeah, bro. If Luis Fabiano, if you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. I don't know personally. You know, Nick? No. No? Me neither. Yeah. All right. Shall we move on to the next one, brother?
Shout out to Muric. A few very, very good saves, but
Yeah, high
you were
quality
not
keeper.
you were not the standout goalkeeping performance of this week. We'll get to that person very soon.
Precisely, brother. Moving on to the next one, we've got Milan 2, Pisa 2.
What the Sigma?
Yes, and that is why I am wearing this honorary Pisa shirt, as the sadist I am. This is their promotion shirt. Let me stand up so you can see it properly. Look at that. Bro's fucking mental. So we have, yes, Magnan in goal for Milan in what looked to be a 3-5-2 system. What would you call this, bro?
Yeah, 3-5-2.
Yeah, 3-5-2. Here it's a 3-1-4-2. It's a 3-5-2,
Mm.
right? Yeah. It's De Winter, Gabbia, and Pavlovic at the back, starting at the back with Modric playing in front of the defense. Of course, Salamakers and Bartezaghi out wide, with Fofana and Ricci in the middle. Jimenez and Leao starting together up front. For Pisa, they mirrored this 3-5-2 with Semper in goal, Cannestrelli, Albiol, and Caracciolo at the back, with Bonfanti and Toure out wide, Tramoni, Abisher, and Akinsamiro in the middle, with Meister and Inzola playing up front.
Akin San Miro and fucking San Siro, huh?
That should be the episode name.
Oh my god.
Akin San Miro and fucking San Siro.
Yeah, and completely neglect the Inter Napoli
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
title.
That's-
So us.
Milan took an early lead through Leao, who had another long-ranged cracker, and it went in, but failed to put Pisa away. Pisa would eventually go on to equalize with a penalty in the 60th minute after De Winter handled the ball in the box. It was Quadrado who came on and converted that penalty.
He won the penalty as well.
He-
He was the one that shot the
Yeah.
ball into the Winter's arm. In a similar way, the Winter had his arm on an opponent. The opponent moved, ball was shot, and it
And
hit him
it's
in the
sad
arm.
because his arm was retreating into
Yeah.
an actual position.
Poor guy.
But of course, yeah.
He'll be fine.
Unlucky. Sucks on your first start though.
Yeah.
Leao hit the crossbar shortly after, and a chance that I'm pretty sure he should have done better. Pisa took the lead with Mbala Inzola in the 86th minute, latching onto Akin Samiro's lovely long-range pass after Gabbia had been rugby tackled to the ground. Milan salvaged the point in stoppage time via Atekame's long-ranged strike. A weird...
Creeped him, no?
weird
Sneaky.
shot. I can't believe it didn't take a deflection, but yes, I do agree with what you said in the intro, brother. There were 4 Milan players in an offside position, hindering the vision of Semper.
That, you know what that's giving me, man. Oh, we made a mistake with Pisa's goal, so let's make a mistake with the Milan one now, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah.
I know that's not the way things work in the footballing world, but that's what it was giving me, man. Like the referee almost
uncanny,
fixed
yeah.
his mistake. But I'm gonna be honest, man. There was a clear fucking foul on Gabbia in Pisa's goal to go 2-1 up, and there were clearly 4 men offside, and clearly impeding the goalkeeper's vision. Clearly, they all moved
Spread,
apart
yeah.
like that. They spread apart, and the ball went completely through them. And we didn't really see the goalkeeper complain.
No,
about
not
it.
at all. Not
It-
at all.
it
And that
was
was perhaps
so
naive
odd.
by Semper. He should have thrown a tantrum there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because they could have, definitely with some pressure, the referee might have had to ask about that or, check that. Because
Yeah.
they definitely had a point. One last thing, Salamakers got possessed by the ghost of Prima Del Tarapt at the end, dribbled his way into a one-on-one situation before shooting wide, only to find Fofana spanking the ground in frustration like he doesn't sky every shot into row Z.
Salamakers shouldn't pass there. It was like you could tell he had to snapshot that. He
Yeah.
couldn't stop, look, and make a good pass. He doesn't have chameleon eyes and whatever. He had to shoot there. He toe poked it just wide, man. Saleh fucking Makers, Salamakers.
I love Salamakers, man.
Holy fuck! How he outmuscled
Too
nice Salamana.
Salamella, what is it? Salamella? They're calling him
Salmonella, bro.
Salmonella. It's put yes, but they say
Salamakers song. Salamella. What a player. What a player. So right
What a
wing
player.
back, and then he goes left winger in those
Yeah,
scenarios.
yeah.
He's so good, man.
Look,
so
if
fucking good.
Salamakers was a great player, he would have passed in that situation. Don't get me wrong. If he was an amazing top level player, he would have passed. But we
No,
understand
he would have
that,
scored.
or he would have scored. Yes, fair enough. But we understand that Salamakers is a player who is on the up, whose trajectory has been steady, and I think it's been the most successful loan spell that Milan have actually managed
Mhm.
in a very long time, man. When was the last time
Absolutely.
Milan had players going out on loan and actually coming back so much better, man? Twice in a row. Like, it didn't quite work out for Pobega. He did well out on loan, but he never quite became good enough. With Suso, I remember. Suso had gone to Genoa. He had done really well, and then came back to Milan ready. I can't remember more situations where a loan worked out this well.
Man, to think Milan had so many issues with the right-hand side last season. Milan had last season. I'm just gonna remind you guys. Calabria last season, Emerson Royal, and then Kyle Walker. Now they have fucking Alexis Salamakers, bro. He's industrious.
Who was totally ready last season as well.
Yes, totally. But I like that it worked out the way it did, because in Roma, so at Bologna, he was playing left winger. I believe they had just lost Soriano, if I'm not mistaken, so they were playing him left winger, or Solini on the right, and then Castro, or whoever they had up front. With Roma, he was playing right wing back, so it prepared him perfectly for an Allegri Milan.
Mhm.
So he
Yes,
came in
that's true.
super
That's true.
versatile.
Yeah, and I'm not too butthurt that he didn't pass. I mean, in the moment I screamed, but
Yeah.
but that's fine, you know. Fuck it. I think Milan are guilty over here of maybe not killing the game off in the first half when all the momentum was theirs. No, maybe there was a little bit of complacency. Alan on Discord said the C in AC Milan stands for complacency. Do you agree?
That Milan are complacent.
That Milan were a bit complacent in this one, that they didn't you'd imagine if Milan score early, it will take away some of the pressure, but they can maybe, Pisa are forced to attack, and then maybe you can get a second one. They never actually...
No, I disagree. I don't
Yeah.
think Milan were complacent. I think
Tell me.
Milan failed to kill the game off early, and I think we're going to see this with an Allegri system where you go 1-0 up. You kind of say, okay, let's steady the ship a little bit, and it's not going to be the case where you score shortly after. But what happened was that, they got a penalty in the 60th minute. Milan could have killed the game off after that, or right around that period. But what happened was there was a handball in the box. They conceded a penalty, and then while they were attacking to get that second goal to go 2-1 up, their defender just so happened to get rugby tackled. Inzola was clean through one goal and he scored. I don't think it's complacency.
But
I think
in
it's
the
an
first half,
instruction.
for example...
I think it's more an
But
instruction.
why would you hang on? Why would you hang on in the first half against Pisa instead of doubling your...
So I
Your
think I don't think it's complacency. I think Milan should definitely kill the game off earlier against a team like Pisa. And if you look at Milan's fixtures, they now have Atalanta, Roma, they soon have Inter, and the like. So this was a really good opportunity for them to get 3 points after they dropped 2 against Juve. So why I believe that.
Yeah.
But I think it's more, this is an Allegri system. It's gonna fucking happen sometimes.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Fair. And especially, I mean, Allegri would probably look at the situation and say, listen, I don't have many options on the bench. We have many injuries. Let's just grind this one out, right?
Yeah.
It's just a shame that there were mistakes from the new boys, De Winter and Atekame. Granted, Atekame made up for it with a goal he'll remember for the rest of his life, because that was super.
Absolutely.
Allegri said that if he had, Allegri said that him and the management sat together and planned the number of players in the squad together. He said, had I had a crystal ball and I had known how many injuries we would have had, I would have signed more players. But I think
Allegri said
that. He said if I had a crystal ball, I would have signed more players.
Okay.
But I mean, injuries happen, and some
Absolutely.
areas are obviously thin in the
And-
squad. But that's him being a company man, I think.
Yes, and you have one striker who is Santi Jimenez, who is completely misfiring.
Yeah, and you heard Allegri calling him out. It was clear to hear on the
What did he say?
teleprompter. He said, "Santi, where are you? Wake up! Wake up! Wake
Ah.
up!" He kept telling him.
Yeah, and I mean Milan will sign a striker in January.
Absolutely.
I'm confident of that, and we know the way that this management operates. They learn from their mistakes and they implement, which
Yeah.
leads me to my next point. Where are the Vendere Vattenez? I'm not hearing the Vendere Vattenez from the Curva. No, because one thing that I appreciate seeing these people as humans who have undertaken this project, and they're perhaps not too experienced within the industry, at least in Serie A, etc. We've seen them make their mistakes, and we've seen them shamed for it, and they have since learned from their mistakes. They got a sporting director on board. They got a seasoned manager on board. Last January, we saw them making a bunch of signings trying to address what they didn't do the summer before. We see them implementing change from the mistakes that they made. You see them bring back the Curva. Okay, the Curva shouldn't have been gone in the first place, whatever it is, what it is. But they are constantly learning and adapting, and Milan, as a result, are getting better. And I think the Curva are seeing that now. I still think, I know the Milan fans are going to come after me because of what they did to Maldini. I did not forget that. It is not water under the bridge when it comes to that. I hope to God that the next thing that they learn is that Maldini needs to be somewhere there. And if they could find a way to do that, then I
It's
think
not
it
gonna
would
work,
be
though.
a 10-on-10 recovery if they manage to pull
But
off something
it'll
like
never
that.
work because Maldini wants power over there. He wants influence. He wants the ability to have a say in what's happening in the club.
Look, I'm not claiming that
Yeah.
Maldini is going to come back
No,
or
no.
whatever, but this management has learned from its mistakes 100%.
It shows that
you're
it
not
has,
hearing the Vendere Vattenez anymore. Now, are they fucking telling the Curva, listen, we're going to bring you back, but don't stay chanting again?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the fucking case.
No. I mean, it's results reflect what I mean. Look, if Milan lose to Atalanta tomorrow, tonight. Sorry, Madonna, it's tonight. Crazy. You might hear it starting, bro, because that is the industry of football.
Nah,
That's
I
the world
think-
of football, man. Results dictate absolutely everything.
God, if
man.
we hear them tonight, I'm going to look like a proper mug, say,
No, but
say
it's-
what I did.
I mean, the management, granted, man, I like the way that this season has been approached, but there are definitely shortcomings. Granted, they are learning and they're adapting, but the sporting director came in too late, and the sporting director came in so late that Milan could have made much more of a profit on some key players who actually left, right? Yes, and
Yes, but they didn't, they were deciding between Paratici and Tudor, and I think
Yes.
they made the right call.
And they totally destroyed the Scudetto winning side at the end of the day. And obviously that's going to be frustrating. They came in, they employed the wrong people as managers, they let some key players go, they
And then they
immediately
learned.
came in. They learned, yes, it's true, they learned. But these things are going to stay, Of course, people aren't going to forget them.
Reputationally,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You want to talk a bit about Pisa?
Yes, so
before we
Pisa
move on?
impressed me a lot. Their ability to absorb pressure and kind of force mistakes and take advantage of those exploited mistakes was very impressive. Pisa have been a team this season that we say they play really well, but they don't get the
Yeah.
results. Of course, against Milan, they get something.
They almost
right?
did. They almost did. They're such a Gilardino side.
They are.
go, man.
They remind me of
They're
Monza the way they move.
literally Monza. You mean Genoa?
Genoa, yes. Sorry.
Genoa. No, it's okay. I
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
They're very similar.
Leicester,
They're
yeah.
very similar. But they're a complicated side to play against, and they are very opportunistic. Is it enough to keep them up? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But you see qualities in that team, considering the starting 11 that they are, which is, let's be honest, coming into the season, I had only heard of Tramoni, Inzola, and Albiol.
Yeah. And
really.
Derbyshire.
And Derbyshire.
Yeah.
And Semper.
Yeah.
But-
and everyone else.
No, the six players I had never heard of, man. Who's Meister? Who is Akin San Miro? Who's
Yeah.
Bonifanti? Who's Caracciolo? Who's Canestrelli? Who's Touré? But they
next
play.
gen
They,
player, I think. Touré
Yes?
passed. He was a Juve youth.
okay.
I'm not sure if next gen was a thing yet, but definitely a Juve youth.
But great stuff by Pisa.
Yeah.
They were impressive in this game. They were impressively difficult to play against.
Agreed. They were definitely a handful, and they put in a very noble performance. Shout out to Semper for his save on Salamaker's long-range attempt. That was absolutely gorgeous. Yes, so Milan failed to stay on top.
Yes, as things stand, guys, I know you're going to be listening to this from the future, but Napoli are 0-0 against Lecce at halftime.
Right.
So could this be an opportunity if Milan win tonight to jump back to the top? I guess we will wait and see. Obviously,
Yeah.
depending on Roma as well.
Nick, your boy Lamek Banda's playing.
I hope he gets me some fucking points.
I hope you do your fucking team next week.
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah.
that's
What
what
was I thinking? Well,
Because in our first ever episode with you, we said we pointed him out. I think that's why.
Is it because I had mentioned him at Face Off, and because I mentioned him, you thought this guy must be a
a sleeper
player? So
pick
when
or
you-
something?
you mentioned him many times.
Because
Banda, we'd say Banda for some reason because of the Maltese word.
Yeah.
And you would just go, oh, Banda, left winger. He must be like the next Lamine Yamal.
No one at work. I did a game show, and someone said, I said, what's a top thing you see at a feast in Malta? And they go, Il Banda, the
band,
marching
yeah.
band. And I go, Banda, do you mean the left winger of Lecce? And no one
got
laughed.
it.
No
Got
one
it, of course.
gets it.
Brilliant joke. But
There
no
was
gets
one
it.
comment that said I have elite ball knowledge, but I know the guy.
Yeah.
It's that joke and the joke of Caprile calling. What was it? Was it
The
Orsolini?
Caprile. Orsolini. Oh my god. The Orsolini.
That's a great joke, bro.
Knock knock. Who's there? What was it? Orsolini, call me up. Disaster, bro.
Yes, tune
Yes,
into the
one day
last
hopefully we'll
episode.
have the possibility of recording in the morning when we're fresh. Not at the
Hey
end of
man,
the day. Jesus
make
Christ.
us go full time.
we have
make
to-
us go full time.
We have to stop talking to Nick because the patrons get angry when we talk to Nick.
Okay, Lazio 1, Juve 0. The straw that broke two doors back, and for the second season running, Juve have changed manager throughout the season. That was their second loss on the trot, which inevitably sealed Tudor's fate. Before we get into that, let's talk about the game. Juve had failed to score away to Lazio only once in their last 29 official visits. The 1-0 defeat on the 30th of March 2024 in Serie A. Yes. In the other 28 matches, the Bianconeri have scored a total of 43 goals. Juve arrived in crisis mode, 8 games without a win in all competitions, and 4 straight matches without scoring. Tudor's job was clearly on the line. Lazio haven't lost a match since the derby, including a Genoa thrashing, a dramatic draw to Torino, and a draw to Atalanta most recently. Lazio decimated with Delebashiru, Castellanos, Rovella, Gigot, Cancelleri, Nuno Tavares and Kamarinovic out injured. Started in a 4-3-3 formation. Provedel in goal, backline of Marsic, Romagnoli, Hila and Lazzari, Guendouzi, Cataldi and Basic in midfield with Zaccagni and Isaacson flanking Boulaye Dia. 3-5-2 for what were Tudor's men. Perrin in goal, backline of Kalulu, Gatti and Lloyd Kelly. Conceição as a right wing back, Cambiaso as a left wing back, but kind of McKennie as the left wing back, and Cambiaso kind of as a central midfielder. Locatelli and Cope Miners, with Vlahovic and David up front together. Of course, Thuram was benched due to a slight calf issue. We saw him come on later. They had Cabal out, they had Bremer out, Zegrova, Milik, and Pinsolio.
no.
Very interesting to see
Probably
them
in Turkey.
start. Very interesting to see them start Perrin in this game over Di Gregorio, who has been shaky, but not to the extent that I think you play Perrin, even though Perrin is a top quality goalkeeper as well. The only goal of the match was scored in the 9th minute through Basic. It was David header that played the ball directly to Cataldi, who laid the ball off and fed Basic, who fired past Perrin from outside the area. There was a slight bubble on the way in, nothing the goalkeeper can do about it. After the goal, Lazio switched to damage limitation mode, sitting slightly deeper, inviting Juve to press and trying to hit on counters. That is where they were using Isaacson quite effectively. Juve dominated possession and territory, 60% possession to Lazio's 40, but they failed to translate it into meaningful, clear-cut chances, which is something that we've seen very regularly throughout the season, particularly in the last 8 matches. There was a penalty call on Conceição. There was light contact. Guys, what the fuck do I know? Was it a penalty? Everyone, let me know. I really don't know.
They asked Hila about that, and he went normalissimo. Basta.
He was screaming in his face, going, "Get up!" Was there contact? Yes, if you slow it down and go too far, it might be a penalty.
I love Hila, bro.
I love Hila.
I love Hila. What
Hila.
a fucking player, man.
Yeah,
and
man.
he is the type, man. My God, you saw him with McKennie. He was driving him
bro,
insane,
yes.
poking and pulling and stepping on him and getting in his face. I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
When you have a center back like that, you know that. Look at, they had David and Vlahovic up front. Juve this game. 2 disastrous performances.
Yes, man.
Literally, because Hila probably psychologically bested them.
Yeah, and not to say that they were psychological beasts coming
Exactly,
into this
yeah,
either. They were a mess, and Hila knew that, and he's like, "You guys are gonna score anytime." Just like verbally abusing
Hey,
them.
yo, it's Dumb and Dumber.
And Hila's an absolute beast. Milan have been linked with him for the past 2 seasons.
He's running
and
down his contract.
I love that.
Love that. You know, by the way, as David Mastrobattista calls him, we've got Toma Milinkovic Basic, right?
I'm so glad you pointed him out when you did.
Bro, it's the redemption story is absolutely insane, man. It's actually crazy that this guy spent 2 years on his way out, with one foot out the door, with Lazio trying to sell him, kept working in the background. And now he's become a starter, very important player. I highly doubt Dell'Appennino was going to take his place. When he comes back, Dell'Appennino looked pretty shaky, to be honest, compared to what Basic has been doing. And now he actually even scored, man. Who would have ever thought that Basic would score against Juve for Lazio?
Hey man, it's a
bizarre.
big game goal. I thought Cataldi was good as well. Of course, got the assist for that goal.
Did a lot of defensive work as well.
If this is what it's so Lazio didn't have a mercato obviously, but I feel like with Sarri they've discovered these 2 players that they can play in the middle when shit gets tough, and it's not Belayan, it's none of these new guys that they had brought in previously. It's the old guards in Cataldi and Basic.
Yeah.
Basic, who was at Salernitana, Cataldi, who was at Fiorentina, I believe.
Cataldi was at Fiorentina.
Yes. But they're putting in such a good shift. They're also hard-working, and they have a very hard-working midfield 3, and then next to them, there's Guendouzi, right,
Yeah,
who's another
Gwyneth.
one of these box-to-box beasts that we don't really talk about much.
Yeah.
Lacking certain output though. Before we get into Lazio, I do want to obviously address this because it's the biggest talking point. So Tudor has been sacked by Juve, 8 winless matches in a row, 0 goals scored in their last 4 matches. He was replaced by Massimo Brambilla as interim, their next-gen coach, who apart from Next Gen, he's only really managed Foggia. He had left Next Gen to go to Foggia, and then Next Gen were struggling. They brought him back, and he got them out of this rut that they were in, and now he's gotten the job for the time being. In the meantime, the potential replacements that are being lined up are Palladino, who seems the favourite at this point. No, sorry. Spalletti seems the favourite. Palladino a close second, and then Mancini, and then Terzic, and then we hear this every time Juve are looking for a manager, Zidane. Yeah, good luck getting that guy back to work.
Would you go for Spalletti or Palladino?
I don't think you go for Mancini right now, because there's that ring rust, and the last job that he had was with the Nazionale for a while. I think that cutoff was a bit too long, even though Mancini is a strong personality that can come in and make changes. Here is where I'm confused whether or not I'd go for Spalletti or Palladino. Personally, for a long-term project, I believe Palladino is a quality manager.
Agreed.
He has a lot of ideas. I feel like his system suits Juve, and he has gotten a lot out of his wingbacks, and which Juve prominently play with nowadays, and he's gotten a lot out of players like Moise Kean up front. He even got a lot out of the likes of Dani Mota back at Monza. So it is a head scratcher because Palladino can do that. Spalletti has won the league. Spalletti is a manager that pretty much guarantees you top 4. He is a strong, experienced personality that in a turbulent environment can either go really well or it can cause a lot of conflict and they'll end up going for a third manager that season. So it's a delicate decision that needs to be made. Unfortunately, I don't trust Elkan or any of these guys to make the proper decision over there. Palladino, again, top quality manager. He got Fiorentina 6th last season, so he got them Conference League football again, against all odds in his first season, after they lost Italiano, and at times they looked better than Italiano's Fiorentina. The problem is, you saw what happened with him at Fiorentina. He didn't get along with the management and he left after a season. I don't think if he didn't get along with Rocco Commisso, I doubt he'll get along with Elkan either. It's tough. I think you get Spalletti because of the experience to deal with the turbulent situation. But I think for a long-term project, you want Palladino, man.
That's it summarized very well. However, Juve don't have the opportunity to actually go for a long-term project.
Right.
Because we've already seen them try with Motta.
Yeah.
And they didn't give him the time. I mean, a few bad losses in a row and the pressure piles. This is Juve, and they haven't won in a long time. They haven't won a significant trophy. So I think the smartest thing for them to do is to go for the person who is one of the most respected and seasoned managers in Italy. No, you go for Spalletti, a person who's won the league before. Quite frankly, you do what Milan did. You go for a manager who is almost a guarantee. Spalletti is a top 4 guarantee. He'll stabilize the ship. I think right now that's what Juve need. They need to go for. They need someone to give them a little bit of hope for a challenge. Man.
Yeah. The thing is, will Spalletti take on a caretaker role? Will he take on a contract where, listen, you have to get us top 4 by this date or you're out? The same job that
no, but you can give Spalletti a 2-3 year contract. It's totally reasonable.
You know what they don't want, but they're not gonna do that, man. They won't do that. They'll only sign someone with the clause that I said, because they already have. So they had they had to pay off Allegri.
Yeah.
Now they're still paying Motta's wage. Now they're still gonna be paying Tudor's wage. There's even talks about bringing back Motta for that reason. That's something that they don't want. If Spalletti can agree to that, then it's definitely the most logical thing to do. Palladino, what the heck was I gonna say, man?
Might actually accept that.
He might actually accept that, but is halfway through the season really the time to try build this grand new project with Palladino? Doesn't have to be a grand new project, but he doesn't really have the experience. It's Juve. Palladino has coached Monza and 1 season Fiorentina. Do you take
but
a
Palladino
punt?
was at,
but do you take a punt like that and get someone with that level of experience after what happened with Motta? No is the answer.
I believe Palladino was involved technically at Juve as well.
It could be. He was a player there.
Managed
He was a player.
Yes, between
Yes, he
2004 and 2008, 51 games, 10 goals, Palladino for Juve.
Go you.
Yeah. I know I can't find anything about him being involved in his managerial career with them. I mean, bro, I'm not sure, to be honest. It's quite a precarious situation that they find themselves in. I think that they need to figure out what they want to do, man. And usually when you have the need or the desire for instant results and instant gratification, you need to go for someone who can give you that instantly. It's very unlikely that if you go for Palladino, you'll win something in the next 3 years. If you go for Spalletti, the probability is better.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And they want to win. They want results because they show they're not willing to give Motta time. Motta was at the height of his career. And it's not like he had a terrible start with Juve. It looked like he was laying down some decent foundations. Then he had 2 or 3 bad games in a row after a bunch of draws. Humiliating losses, granted. You're going to get that when you have an inexperienced manager, right? But they weren't willing to give him the time, so they went for Tudor. And what is Tudor? Something in the middle as well. They have a proper problem when it comes to
they do.
Identity, when it comes to plan and strategy. It makes no sense. You bring in a sporting director, you let him go. You spend so much money on players for a certain manager, then you sack the manager. The players are there. The players are in their prime, so there's no what's the word, bro? resale potential. There's no potential for a profit up something.
Yeah.
Word escapes me. But yes, there's no
Profit,
there's
really.
no profit potential from these.
Yeah.
You know, they're pure losses. Coop miners now. You're not gonna make what you made for what you paid for him. Same
No,
with
and they
Douglas.
lost
Oh,
Douglas Luiz, and their striker situation is terrible because they've got 3 guys that I'm surprised they ever played football before. If I'm being quite honest,
They missed out on a
Cambiaso-
massive cash in on Cambiaso,
Yeah.
which you had to take for sure.
Cambiaso's a disaster
Yeah.
nowadays, man. Cope Miners is a disaster.
Tudor
as
said,
well.
you heard what Tudor said about what's his name, about fucking Cambiaso.
What is
Not
it?
about fucking Cambiaso, just about Cambiaso in general. He said, I didn't like him.
I don't like
He said, I didn't like him. He said, I didn't like what he offered in attack. I didn't like what he offered in defense. Fair enough. On your way out.
Fair, completely
Take a
fair.
man down.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough.
What means of transportation do you think Tudor is using to go back to Croatia? He drove to Turin. Do you think he's driving back because
I
he's so
highly
eager
doubt- I highly doubt
to
he-
get away now? Or did he fly like EasyJet, man?
That's hilarious. He probably flew first class and he's
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm going to sit on my ass for a few months now and get paid.
I
Entire
was somewhat impressed in a very like fuck yes way about Lazio. They by no means had a stellar performer against Juve, but
I have a
but
question
they
for you.
did okay.
Is revenge fueled by hatred?
Yes.
Yes, right?
Yes.
I would say revenge is fueled by hatred because it's one of the most powerful, human emotions. It turned Isaacson into Di Maria, bro. Isaacson was so good this game. And now I don't know if it's Cambiaso shitting the bed entirely, but Isaacson, who last week I said hasn't looked completely sharp. In fact, didn't finish the game. He was subbed out in the
Yeah.
second half. He had a monstrous
He was
performance.
really
And then you
good.
think about it a little bit. Why is he performing so well in this game? Tudor, when he was at Lazio, didn't play Isaacson at all.
My God. Oh my
He
God.
totally ignored him.
Because Tudor was the caretaker
Yes,
of Lazio,
exactly.
of course.
So this guy comes in, plays a massive game, and gets him sacked. Also, Sarri with Juve.
Oh my
yes. So this was a
God.
matter. Lazio had this whole chip on their shoulder, man. This massive nacho chip, bro. and they fucking managed. They beat them, and Isaacson got his former employer sacked.
Yeah, man. I thought Lazio took it back to basics. I thought that what I said earlier is they looked to absorb the Juve pressure. There was no way they were allowing Juve any space whatsoever. I like the way that they handled Yildiz, who has looked a shadow of himself after such a great start to the season over the past couple of games. The strikers, I mean, non-existent. They barely touch the ball at any point whatsoever. Lazio were just a unit, really tough to penetrate. And this is exactly how you need to play if you don't have those game changers in your team at the moment. Thankfully for them, they had a stroke of luck with the goal, I'm going to be honest, because the ball was gifted to them. Loads of space in front of them. Took a deflection, you know. They're like, okay, Jesus, that was a better start than we anticipated because Lazio aren't doing great this season, of course, with the situation that they're in. So they're like, okay, now we focus on the counter. And on the counter, you know, Cambiaso is all the way up, or McKennie is all the way up. Isaacson, play him through behind with those long, high balls.
And
just to
Dia
find
dropping
them.
deep and doing the dirty work.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I thought, I look at both these teams and I say the difference is Lazio looked like a team and Juve didn't.
Yeah,
Juve
yeah.
looked disjointed every single... The players look far apart. I don't know how to say it. There is no transition. There is no passion. There's no hedja.
Fluidity at all whatsoever.
No fluidity at all. I'm not saying there was massive fluidity with Lazio, but Lazio got the goal and they got the job done, man. Respect.
Yeah, absolutely. And a few more points on Lazio. Once again, Buzic got the man of the match award, and it was so nice to see him at the end of the game. They gave him the trophy, bro, and he took off running and jumping like a child, literally.
I love that,
So
man.
sweet.
Love that.
Um,
Boys will be boys.
Yes. And other than that, I think that going forward, if they have Cancelleri, I'm not sure the state of his injury.
He's
But if
freshly
they've-
injured.
If they've got Cancelleri and Isaacson on the right as options, who have both hit form now, it might actually free up Zaccagni on the other side to finally be able to do something. Because as it's been right now, Zaccagni's been double teamed, and he's not doing himself any favors with his performances either.
Yeah.
He's been kind of subpar. But this could be quite positive going forward for Lazio as well.
Yeah,
because
and they have
won't be so
no
left-heavy.
they have no replacement for Zaccagni. There are talks of now Insigne coming in January. I can't wait for Lazio's Mercato in January, because in these situations, like, of course, all eyes are on you, but you save budget when you have a transfer ban. The positive is you're saving budget completely. But they didn't make any sales either because they had to safeguard their team. But they did save.
That's all I'm gonna say. Lotito.
Good point. Good point.
Now, one more thing. Bazic's contract is ending soon.
Okay.
Bazic has only started playing well 3-4 games ago. He became a thing. He became a factor 3 games ago, let's say. Would you give him a new contract?
It depends on what their plans are in the Mercato. If for the rest of the season they say, look, we're sorted with midfielders, or we're going to bring one in, for example, I say keep Basic, extend his contract for 1 to 2 years. He deserves it. For the work that I believe that players should be rewarded in that sense. I think he deserves a new contract. The same way when Gabbia had come back to Milan and saved them, they renewed his contract immediately and they gave him a raise. Give this man a raise.
I would be very surprised if he even accepted a new contract. Because as it stands, you know, this guy was sidelined for 2 years. That's 2 very important years in his career. So I don't know. He seems like an amazing person, the way he has taken on this opportunity. And the fans fucking love him for it. I hear them chanting his name. It's massive. I think this might
be a penalty for Lecce.
Yes.
This might be a penalty for
crazy,
Lecce. I don't want this to happen.
Let's not get too distracted by that.
Okay, it's a good point you bring up about Basic. I think he could start at some of these teams. Okay, albeit probably either like a Cagliari of sorts that he could do. He'd be awesome at Cagliari, come to think of it, man.
Cool.
He'd be really good at Cagliari.
But anyway.
Here I am, Agent Matt.
Yes.
Sign me up.
Are we moving on to the next one?
Yes, brother, over to you.
Now we've got Cremonese, Atalanta.
Yes.
What a game. We have Silvestri in goal for Cremonese with Terracciano, Baschirotto and Faye at the back. Van de Putte was playing in front of the defence with Mussolini and Barbieri playing out wide. Zerbin and Payer on the middle with Jamie Vardy and Tony Sanabria playing together up front. And if that's not a cult striking partnership, then I don't know what is. And on the bench you've got Vasquez. You're taking the piss. You're taking the piss, man.
Whoever put this team together is a cool motherfucker. Oh my god, the ref is going to the VAR monitor right now. Sorry, go on.
As for Atalanta, Carnesecchi was in goal, or as Juric calls him, the big mouth fuck. You heard?
No. How do you know everything every manager is saying, bro? You heard what Allegri said.
Chronically
you heard what Tudor said.
Carnesecchi criticized the team's performance. He said, "We need to wake up. We need to be more aggressive and not concede at the first opportunity. Everyone, including me, must give everything on the pitch." Juric replied with, "I talk to D'Amico and Percassi every day. We analyze things. Marco made a mistake. He needs to be professional, talk less and do his job."
That's amazing.
I don't think he's the right one to address the situation. He's a great guy. He's working. He's doing very well, but it wasn't the right conversation. Everyone works their asses off every day. There are so many things that prevent them from winning the matches. If there's something to say, we meet every day. You show up and say what you need to say.
Oh my god, this is Juric, bro.
That was like, girl, hold my earrings.
This is the same guy that grabbed Cairo by the collar of his shirt because he wasn't giving him a budget, man.
Yeah, and
that was amazing.
It's
brilliant. A penalty for Lecce. Go on, I'll scream soon.
Big mouth in goal for Atalanta with Bellanova and Zalewski out wide, with Hien and Jim City as the centre-back partnership. Camarda stepping up to take the penalty. Darun, Pasalic and Ederson were in midfield with Dekay Talara on the right, Lukman on the left and Kristovic starting up front.
He handed it to someone else, but he's still walking. Continue.
I doubt he's going to lose his ability to walk now. The match began with both teams testing each other's defensive lines. Cremonese's compact structure limited Atalanta's central play and forced them to utilize the wings. Atalanta's pressing was effective in disrupting Cremonese's build-up, but they struggled to penetrate the defensive block. And to be honest with you, this has been a bit of a team with Atalanta wasting first halves.
Camarda.
The game opened up in the second half as both teams were seeking the opening goal. Cremonese's counterattacks became more prominent as Atalanta pushed, with Vardy's experience proving valuable. Atalanta increased their pressing intensity, leading to more possession in the final third. Jamie Vardy scored for Cremonese. He scored a rebound and went off and did what was that? A cartwheel and the backflip. Cartwheel and the backflip straight up.
Landed like Spider-Man.
Yes, landed like Spider-Man. I love that the burst of pace when he
Oh,
missed it.
Vanya saved it.
That's on my
Vanya
Fanta.
saved
That's on my
Camarda's
fantasy
penalty.
football, my friends. Massive. Maybe I improve from my 31st position.
What a save by Vanya.
Yes.
Guess who I have in my Fanta?
Who do you have in your Fanta? Camarda. You playing him? Nick as Camarda. Okay. Brescianini got the equalizer off the bench for Atalanta in the 84th minute.
I have Vanya as well.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Vanya,
let's
sorry, this is-
continue.
We're really disrespecting Atalanta. Sorry, Michael. Sorry, Yuri. Sorry, everyone.
Oh my god, and Yuri told
yeah.
us to show more.
Yuri said that to cover Atalanta, we read the lineups and then we move on.
Let's dive in. Let's dive in.
Yeah. What did you make of this? Do you have any thoughts?
Yes, Atalanta
Left, right,
clearly struggled against the way that Cremonese set up. I think Cremonese are a tough side to penetrate, and Atalanta, to be honest, I feel like they struggled. Kristovic in this game showed that he is not a world beater and that he's not yet a striker that can find consistency at the top level. I mean, he was never a consistent goal scorer at Lecce either. He scored a lot of goals, but they did come in bursts. I think he was a bit, not isolated, I think his touch was a bit heavy in this game, and I don't think he had the best of performances. And coming up against a defence that has been so resilient in Cremonese, with the likes of Bascherotta and Terracciano, and even, what's his name, Faye, or Faye.
I'd call him Fire.
Faye.
Yeah.
They had a great performance and just really tough to break down. What I liked about Atalanta though is straight after they conceded that goal by Jamie Vardy in the 78th, they came back in the 84th and scored through Brescianini.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago I was really saying that I'm not seeing Brescianini get enough minutes off the bench. And he came on and scored because he's a game changer. He's one of those midfielders that really sneaks his way into the area and finds himself in good goal scoring opportunities, which Pasalic tends to do, but less. He does that less recently because he's been playing a little bit deeper. So when Brescianini comes on, he could really give them that avenue.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I liked the system from Atalanta, to be honest. It's pressing, aggressive pressing, and the defenders stepping into midfield to create overloads and initiate attacks. I think Pasalic is growing into a player who can dictate the tempo in some games. Him and Ederson did pretty well to distribute the ball around. I thought the wing backs played pretty well with Atalanta. You always have solid wing backs, eh?
Yeah.
And the attacking trio is finding their feet. I think that Lookman is gaining in sharpness, even though he isn't anywhere near 100%. Yes, he's improving though, game by game. And I thought Scamacca, when he came on, even though he missed that decent opportunity, I still think he did pretty well to turn and manage to get the shot off as well. I'm pretty sure that he'll continue to improve. I think with Atalanta, the important thing right now is that they're not losing once again, because once they get everyone up and running again, once they get Scamacca back in the team, for example, it's gonna be massive. Also, Kamaldeen Sulemana, man, coming off the bench and totally changing the game.
Yes,
he is literally. It's like Lookman in another body, the way he plays.
Yeah, completely. And I think that's literally what they went for over there. I also noticed, obviously, the change in system that Atalanta opted for. Previously, always starting with a 3 at the back formation, which really complements the likes of Zalewski and Bellanova, having them higher up. In this case, not too sure why in this particular game they decided to go for the 4-3-3 formation. It's interesting. I don't think it fully worked out for them in this game, that change. But it's good to see that they're trying out something new in a manager that is typically deemed to be a little bit one-dimensional. I do want to mention, of course, the importance of Scamacca coming back. As I said earlier about Kristovic, he's not someone that you can rely on completely consistently.
He's new to this level.
Yes. Also, Lazar Samardzic, bro, when he comes on, he is always a handful for defenders. He could really beat his man and get a shot away. He offers something very similar to De Ketelare. But De Ketelare has been very limpa this season. I have not seen that grinta, that Gasperini, that fire in De Ketelare that Gasperini managed to get out of him. In fact, his numbers have been atrocious, and even his presence on the pitch, man.
Yeah, just you wait for tonight till he makes Pavlovic's wank sock. It's gonna happen, like it's definitely gonna happen.
Pavlovic's wank sock. What's a wank sock, bro?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I saw it in a tweet. So, big games from both goalkeepers. Of course, that's what prompted Carnesecchi to open his big mouth. He does have a big mouth as well, looking at him.
Yes, he does. He does. He looks like Andy Samberg.
He does look like it. He looks like one of the characters on Big Mouth.
Literally. 5
saves from Silvestri, 4 from Carnesecchi. One thing before we do move on is that Cremonese fielded a very young team over here. And Zerbin played as a midfielder, remember. Zerbin was interesting as a midfielder. He did pretty well. You look at Paiero, Barbieri, Fallini and Mussolini, they're all under 23. So this was a very good game, to be honest with you, for Cremonese, man, who continue to prove that they can do it against anyone. And they're really playing up to their opponents. They are the coolest team in the league.
I completely agree with you. Of course, they haven't really been winning games recently. Cremonese, where is it? I did have them open somewhere. Here. So, Cremonese, in their last few games, draw to Atalanta, draw to Udinese, lost to Inter, their only loss of the season, draw to Como, draw to Parma, draw to Verona. Of course, their last 2 wins were their first 2 wins of the season. Yeah. But they're in 11th place. They're on 11 points for a newly promoted side. Amazing. And I think they're improving as the games go on. And I think with the amount of avenues that they have really good depth.
They do.
For the level of team that they're at. Like Cagliari, we were talking about it before we came in. For the level of team that these guys are, they have really solid depth. The amount of attacking options Cremonese have is amazing. Really good. And this is the last season we will see Van de Putte at this level. I think Van de Putte will get a big signing, man.
I was about to say that you'd ruin him if you take him out. If a big team poaches him, it would fuck him completely.
No,
I don't think he's that young. He's 29.
Steps, right?
He's 29, Van de Putte. He's not a young player. In his career, he has represented... Oh, he was a Catanzaro player. That explains the silkiness. They were sick.
Yeah, they were really cool, Catanzaro.
Really cool.
Tiki-taka.
So I think he's doing very well at this level, Van de Putte, but I would stay Putte if I were him.
Fantastic. You're not going to get in a van and go somewhere else. You're so close to Milan. Anyway, let's jump to this because it was one of the best games of the week. The dramatic derby dell'Appennino. There is only a mountain separating Florence from Bologna, and the whole debate is which one of them is from behind the mountains. Which of the ones are scum.
Technically, the funny thing is that's a paradox. They are both
True.
from behind the mountains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When Maltese would say when someone is like a chav or something like that, he say dak min wara al-montagni. He's from behind the mountains. Listen to the lore of this derby. So, firstly, Fiorentina had not started a Serie A season without winning in the first 7 match days since 1977-1978. That year, the Viola's first win came on the 9th match day against Bologna. 1-0 at the Dallara with the decisive goal scored by Andrea Orlandini on the 27th of November 1977.
Remember the name.
Yes, sir. Fiorentina still have yet to win a match in Serie A with 4 wins and 4 draws, and they have not yet put a foot wrong in the Conference League, however. Bologna, on the other hand, are way up in 5th place with 4 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses. Just to give you some lore about this rivalry, I read this, and guys, read the book Calcio. It is so fucking cool. But I'm just going to read this out. The intense rivalry between Fiorentina and Bologna supporters, known as the Derby dell'Appennino, has deep roots in Italian football culture. Emerging in the 1970s during the rise of the ultras subculture, this rivalry is marked by passionate fan bases and, regrettably, violent clashes. There was an incident in the 1988-1989 season. One of the most infamous episodes occurred during the 1988-1989 Serie A season. Fiorentina ultras, known as the Al-Cool Campi, launched a Molotov cocktail at a train carrying Bologna fans to Florence.
No way.
The attack resulted in a 14-year-old Bologna supporter suffering third-degree burns.
Fucking
This tragic event led to disbanding the Al-Cool Campi Ultras. The incident intensified the animosity between the two fan bases and highlighted the darker side of Italian football culture during that era.
Yikes. Thanks, bro. You fucked the vibe.
A Molotov cocktail.
Christ.
Okay, if no one got hurt, I'd be like, that's wicked. But a 14-year-old child, guys, third-degree burns. Anyways, the first goal was scored by Bologna in the 25th minute through Santiago. The lineups.
Yes, please.
Pioli's men lined up in a 3-5-2 formation with David De Gea in goal and a backline of Ranieri, Mari and Pongracic. Gosens was on the left, Dodo on the right, and the midfield three of Fagioli, Caviglia and Mandragora, with Goodmanson and Moise Kean starting up front together. It was a 4-2-3-1 formation for Italiano's men, Skorupski in goal with a backline of Emil Holm, Lukumi and Miranda, double pivot of Freuler and Ferguson with Orsolini, Fabian and Cambiaghi starting behind Castro. In the 25th minute, it was Castro that opened the scoring, making it 1-0 for the away side. He reacted quickest to a loose ball from a corner and smashed in an incredible volley past De Gea from close range. Poor marking by Fiorentina. It was a bit sloppy as well, the way that the ball fell to Castro, but you will not find a volley hit sweeter than that all season. I can guarantee you that. In the 52nd minute, Cambiaghi made it 2 again. Great to see Cambiaghi finding the net and having these performances, man. Home burst down the right and drilled in a low cross into the box, and Cambiaghi met it at the far post to double Bologna's lead. It was a simple and direct attack and exactly what Fiorentina couldn't handle. In the 65th minute, they did make it temporarily 3-0, but Dallinga's goal was cancelled due to a marginal Orsolini offside. Pressure on for Fiorentina. The 73rd minute, there was a handball by Ferguson that gave Fiorentina a way back as Goodmanson stepped back, stayed cool, and buried the ball into the corner. Skorupski tracked it, but it was so well hit. In the 82nd minute, Bernardeschi went down in the box after a trip by Sabiri. No penalty given. On the counter, Holm got his second yellow and thus sent off. So now, Fiorentina need 1 goal and they are against 10 men in a derby at home. A quiet home. In the 94th minute, deep in stoppage time, another Bologna handball, this time Bernardeschi, and he didn't do a good job of hiding it because the Napoli scored. Because
or Neres. Is that Anguissa or Neres who scored?
We'll see soon.
Yeah.
It looks like Anguissado.
Yeah.
But he handled the ball. No one really noticed. And you could see from his face, he puts his hands on his face like, holy fuck, I just fucked up, man. And he should have won a penalty on the other side earlier. But anyway, this time it was Moise Kean that stepped up and just sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. It was really cool stepping up. That is where the confidence of Moise Kean shines, right? 98th minute. It's 2-2. Fiorentina are attacking like rabid dogs. They didn't even celebrate the goal. They picked it out of the net. They're like, we can get a win over here. Dodo misses an open net after De Gea saved Piccoli's header and the ball fell to Dodo and he sent it wide and everyone was fuming. The Fiorentina players were already on the pitch running because it was such a certainty. But complete drama. What a game. The Derby dell'Appennino really, really cooked, and the lore is back because they've had some boring encounters, these two teams, recently.
This was scandalous, huh?
It was scandalous.
Scandalous, yeah. I mean, the Bologna were totally robbed over here, and it could have gone worse if Dodo had converted that at the end. That was clearly a penalty.
I agree with you.
Clearly.
I agree
like
with you.
absolute fucking daylight robbery. I do think that Fiorentina were handed a lifeline via this this robbery, because at one point you see the score line is 3-0 because there was the offside goal, of course, the goal that had been cancelled. And you see Pioli's face, and he's literally in tears. And he could have easily been the first manager to be sacked this season before Tudor, to be honest. I'm not sure if I would be confident as a Fiorentina fan moving on, because granted, they equalized this game, and a draw against Bologna isn't the worst thing in the world, but it was 2 penalties. So still a massive problem when it comes to scoring from open play.
Yeah.
You look at Goodmanson, he didn't do much apart from the penalty again. You look at
Not
Keane.
even Keane. His hold-up play was atrocious for most of the game. The ball was bouncing off him.
Yeah, and
he was
constantly
sprinting towards the ball and just hitting the ball with his body. It was dreadful, honestly.
And he's always trying the audacious. He's constantly flipping in the air. It's not a good. And you see De Gea is so frustrated with his defenders as well, because none of them are actually willing to put their body on the line, man.
Yeah.
That second goal was so soft, man. And then it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, there's again, similar to what we said during the Inter game, there's no balance in this midfield. Mandragora, Nicolucci, Caviglia, Fagioli. Where's the protection? And then we talked about Ndour potentially playing. Ndour came on this game. He was rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
Rubbish. He misplaced so many passes. 50% of his passes were misplaced, and 29% of his passes in the opposition half were misplaced as well, the most important ones. He lost possession 7 times as well. So it's a bit of an issue. I think they need to address that position and bring someone on. Nice to see Sabiri back from Morocco.
He didn't look great
It didn't
either,
look great,
in my opinion.
but I enjoyed him at Sampdoria back in the day, so it makes me nostalgic.
How much would you... So obviously, you said you wouldn't be confident about Fiorentina. I agree with you. I don't really see it working, if I'm being honest right now. However, this is the first time that they showed togetherness to get back into a game. They needed a stroke of luck. They got the stroke of luck. A lot of luck, really, in this game. But typically, they'll be up and then they lose the game, or they'll be against Milan and the likes, right? But this was the first time they were losing and they got back into it. That can create in a derby, so it can change things. Of course, they play Inter now, so I think it's ciao Pioli, if I'm being honest. With that being said, how much of the blame for this, because Bologna completely lost their heads, right? They conceded 2 clumsy handball penalties. Again, I'm not too privy of the handball rule and how it works.
I think it's as simple, bro, nowadays, as if there is contact with your hand and it isn't with your body, it's a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. Then in that case, both were penalties.
Yeah.
How much of the blame do you pin on that home second yellow card?
I mean, it's naive, and he isn't. It's not the first time he's done this. Stupid.
And he
red
was
cards.
having a good game.
He was having a good game. He had just had his tooth removed. Everything's going well for him, and he fucking goes and gets sent off, man, and costs them the game. But again, it was just after that moment where his teammates were complaining about the penalty. It was a weird moment, and in weird moments, these things exactly can happen. Rush of blood to the head. Because Bologna did so well. They were about to go 3-0 up. They completely outplayed them. Bologna are such a better team than Fiorentina. They're levels apart. Now again, I'm wearing this Fiorentina kit once again in solidarity with Ranieri on my back, guys. So I believe in Fiorentina as a club. I just don't think that Pioli has the solutions for them. With that being said, Bologna need to assess how they let their opponents get back into this game. Defensively, I don't think they're anywhere near where they were last season, Bologna. But 2 individual errors, 1 blatant handball by Ferguson, and then the second one as well. But Bologna allowed Fiorentina 19 shots despite having 50% ball possession, man. It's all at the end when they piled the pressure. I mean, they tried to contain when they lost home, and it wasn't effective because they were defending like this. Shoot, I dare you. Our hands are up for those not watching on YouTube. Exactly. Interesting, nice game as well. This, if it
It
weren't for the
was.
robbery.
It was a fucking
That
entertaining
Dodo
game.
moment at the end,
Oh
man.
my god! I the football fan in me wants that to go in.
Yeah,
Right? The
right,
the
same,
dramatic
same.
comeback in a derby.
I actually said no when that happened, and Sarah was like, "What happened, babe?" Like, nothing. Nothing happened.
You
Dodo,
got the
Mr. Charles.
video of that key sent on the group chat, and I was watching Milan, and I closed my laptop, and I was like,
I
after
don't
the
think
Salamakers
I
miss,
don't-
man.
No, but I was out when I was out
Mm.
when you sent that. I was
Okay.
watching the game in a bar. I hate watching games in bars.
I fucking despise it.
I hate it.
Despite
Yeah.
unless if it's
I
a
have to go home
5
and watch them again.
Exactly. Next game, brother.
Yes.
People are like,
Did my podcast
did my
get
phone
stuck?
just disconnect?
Yes. Fun fact today, guys. My car caught fire. Now Torino Genoa. But so this was 2-1, sorry, for Torino, who came back to beat Genoa in dramatic fashion. It was Paleari in goal for Torino, who had a pretty good game, to be honest with you. Very impressive keeper. He's stepping in for Israel, who is injured
Yes.
right now. He's stepping in for Israel because there's a ceasefire. Tameza, Maripan and Coco at the back, with Pedersen and Biragi out wide, Cassidy and Aslani in the middle, with Vlasic playing behind Adams and Simeone. For Genoa, it was Leali in goal, with Sabelli, Ostigard and Vasquez at the back, Norton Coffey on the right, Ellertson on the left, with Mazzini and Frendrup in the middle, as Thorsby and Malinovsky played behind Ekator.
Actually, bro, no. You can't fucking say shit like that, okay?
Okay, man.
Anyways.
Listen, bro, I don't like the jokes you've been making on the pod. We're gonna have to stop. Okay?
Really controversial, man.
You
That's
had- you had-
why.
you had
That's why
two.
we don't have sponsors,
You
man.
had two today, bro. You had two. So- Thorsby as a shadow striker into my veins, bro.
La la.
Into my veins. I love that. I adore him as a shadow striker. He created a massive chance at the end. But anyway, let me get through this breakdown I've prepared. So, Torino made it 3 wins in a row in this very tightly contested battle. So it was Genoa who struck first in the 12th minute. There was miscommunication in Torino's build-up, which was punished. Malinovsky bounced. He slipped a pass through Aslani, who slipped on the clearance, and Thorsby managed to finish the move.
It was a hilarious.
It was
thing.
hilarious. He slipped and immediately had his head in his hands.
It's like you make a tiny mistake, like you just like you lose your footing. Instantly, 1 touch later, it's a goal.
It's a goal,
Because
yeah.
Blatantly your fault.
So
No.
must be the worst. Must be the worst, bro. Like, honestly, sometimes that's the beauty of football. It can lead to public humiliation.
That's
Like,
the beauty of football. It can ruin your life.
Yeah, I mean, you have heroes, and again, you have moments where you're a loser.
Yeah.
I mean, the Karius game,
mean,
man, was
bro.
was almost traumatic.
It has gotten out of hand. Escobar, the Colombian defender,
Yeah, yeah.
was shot
Yeah,
by Colombian supporters for
Yeah.
scoring an own goal in the World Cup.
terrible.
The 2 Escobars, go watch it.
Yes. Bro, that's fucked up. So, moving on to Genoa. It was Thorsby who finished the move. 1-0 to Genoa, and suddenly Baroni's men have to change. And that early setback actually shaped the match. Torino started to shift gears, the wing-backs pushed higher, the midfielders began to pinch inwards, and the back three started stepping up with the ball to outnumber Genoa's double pivot. So the defenders were joining the midfield, particularly Maripan and Cocco. Once they established width, the whole rhythm changed. The equalizer came before halftime from a set-piece scramble, classic Torino. The wing-backs had been delivering with menace all half, and all the pressure paid off. Genoa couldn't control their lines, and the ball was bundled home from Sabelli. From there, Torino were all in control. Very unlucky on goal by Sabelli. Very clumsy, but unlucky. Yeah. Baroni's side dominated the second half and suffocated Genoa. Genoa's wide players were forced very deep, to the point that they practically became fullbacks. Torino's midfield triangle dictated every second ball, and when the winner arrived, it summed up their approach perfectly. There was perfect circulation, wide overload, cut back, goal. Viora, Madonna. Vieira's Genoa never stopped fighting, but once they were pinned back, they lacked that vertical punch to escape Torino's press. The double pivot that worked so early was constantly outnumbered and forced into hurried clearances. Cornet almost won the game for Genoa at the end, bro, after Leali went route 1 to Thorsby. This is where Thorsby comes in so handy, bro. You just have that big guy up front who seems to win every aerial duel. So route 1 over the top, Thorsby knocks it down, and Cornet finds himself one-on-one in front of the goalkeeper, shoots, and
what a save,
massive,
bro.
massive
What a
save.
He celebrated.
And he celebrated like he
scored the
scored the
last
winner.
minute win.
Yeah.
As he should. As he
of
should.
course,
That's
of
the
course,
winner.
of course.
That's the winner.
He saved them. Love to see it. Love to see it. Shout out to Leali, who had a very good save as
Yes,
well.
bro. Leali had a good game.
It was on Ngonge. Very good save.
Yes, but that about the goalkeeper, to step in for your first start of the season, replacing Israel, who is a great goalkeeper, and making that save at the end, and Emiliano fashion in the World Cup final, where he essentially won Argentina that final.
Massively.
Goalkeepers don't get many opportunities to celebrate that way, especially a goalkeeper like him that comes off the bench, etc. So I'm really, really happy for him, man. It's great to see.
Absolutely. Shout out to Maripan. I didn't give enough detail to the goal, actually. There was a corner, and he fucking whipped it in, man, with so much ferocity, bro. That was a mental goal. That volley was sick. And it's not every day that you see a cross coming in from a corner and it's not a header. It's a fucking volley. Like, it's crazy.
And to have the instincts to hit it on the volley. Because you won't be expecting it. The amount of bodies around you. You never really see the ball dropping to your feet. Torino, man. I'm so impressed by Torino. Yeah. Super impressed by them. They have so far, man. They've been trashed twice this season by Inter and Atalanta. But otherwise, against the top teams, bro, they've beaten Roma, they've beaten Napoli, and they drew in dramatic fashion 3-3 against Lazio, where they were unlucky not to win the game. And then they're winning these games against the likes of Genoa. Of course, they slipped up against Parma, so they're a bit like hit or miss. But in these games, man, they show so much grit, so much determination. You could tell that this is a Baroni side, man. Unfortunately, that comes with inconsistencies like Lazio last season under Baroni. But I think if this is their start to life with Baroni, Torino can finally maybe manage to take that next step. If they're managing to beat the bigger teams, maybe they can start breaking into that conversation with a few signings here and there, because I do think they have an incomplete squad, especially up top. I know Simeone has been good, but they do need a little bit more oomph, especially players turning midfield to attack. But I'm really, really impressed by Torino. That last minute winner, beautiful.
It was lovely.
Beautiful.
It was lovely. If I were Torino, I'd be looking at this Norton Coffee. They could use someone like him.
They could use a Norton Coffee. They could use a Norton Coffee.
Absolutely, because in reality, man, like Biraghi's a good player, and in this game he played particularly well, but he isn't the type of player you can just plug and play into every single situation in every game. There are some wide men who would absolutely destroy someone like Biraghi out wide.
You know what I would like to see in Torino? I want to see an improvement from Cassidy.
Really? I think Cassidy is one for the future, though. An improvement, sorry, not in personnel, in his performances.
In his performances.
Okay, yes.
Because he's quickly not remaining that young, Cassidy.
Cassidy is 22.
22. We could start seeing better performances from him, to be honest. Because we know he's the kind of midfielder that can find a goal, grab an assist, etc. And we haven't really been seeing that from him.
For context, he just scored one in the Coppa Italia. That's it.
I'm really disappointed that they didn't manage to hold on to Elmas. I think Elmas is the kind of player that they can use, man.
Yeah, but I mean, they've got Ngonge, who is a similar kind of player, right?
Similar to a degree. I mean, Elmas is more of that attacking midfielder slash winger. Of course, Ngonge is more winger striker.
I mean, levels, I mean, Elmas is a fan favourite in Naples. Ngonge was...
And he always scores against Malta, man, Elmas.
There are some players, Madonna, they always score against Malta. Skriniar was one of them. Speaking of, he's being subbed out right now, Elmas.
Skriniar scored 2 against Malta once, no?
Yeah. Retegui as well.
We're 2 hours
We're
in.
2
and
hours
we're still
in.
behind.
Holy fuck.
Holy
Alright,
fuck!
so
This
let's-
is gonna be a long
This is
one.
going to be a long one. We're going to miss Milan. Okay, yes. So very impressive performance by Torino, who outthought and outpositioned Genoa. They were patient, they were structured, and I think their wing play won them this game, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Genoa continue to be unable to win a game.
Yes, yes.
They really have they. I don't think they've won a game yet. No, Genoa.
no,
they
de-
haven't.
Definitely not. Let's.
He
confirm.
is walking a tightrope.
Of course
Vieira.
he is. Yeah, I mean they're
They're
dead
last.
last,
They're
bro.
dead
With 3
last.
points from 3 draws. That's it. 4 goals scored, 11 conceded.
They should
Only
be
Parma
nowhere
have,
there,
have
bro.
scored less than them.
They should be nowhere there.
Yeah.
Genoa.
But anyway, let's move on.
Hellas 2, Cagliari 2. Another brilliant comeback for a team that were 2 goals down. Verona had not won at home since the 23rd of February, man.
Oh,
A 1-0 victory over Fiorentina and Serie A. Since then, they have played 10 home matches across 2024, 2025, and 2025, 2026, with a record of 8 draws, including draws in each of their last 6 and 2 defeats. At home, the Cagliari have been scoreless with 226 minutes. Their only home goal this season was by Orban from the penalty spot in the 44th minute of Verona Juve in their 1-1 draw on the 20th of September.
all right.
Verona came into this game without a win, while Cagliari came into this game without a win in their last 3, despite a rather positive start.
I enjoyed how the commentator was saying Orban's name.
Orban. He is
Orban.
Orban. Sounds Scottish all of a sudden. Gift Orban. 3-5-2 formation for Verona. Montepo in goal. Backline of Nunez, Nelson and Valentini. Bradaric on the left. Belgali on the right. Midfield 3 of Akpa, Akpro, Gagliardini and Serdar, with Gift Orban and Joe Vane up front. Also a 3-5-2 formation for Cagliari. Caprile in goal. Backline of Zappa, Pedra and Obert. Palestra on the right, Idrissi on the left, and the midfield 3 of Folorunsho, Prati and Liteta. Hello, Liteta. Borelli and Gaetano up front together. In the 23rd minute, Verona opened the scoring through a Gagliardini header from a set piece, and that was his first goal in Serie A in 2 years. Shortly after that, I'm seeing you two giggling, and do I have something on my face?
No.
Okay. Shortly after that, man, there was an absolutely mental double save from Caprile to deny
my
Serdar
God, man.
and Orban in the 33rd, and then in the 55th he denied Giovanni from extremely close range. He struck it so well, and his quick reflexes were off the chain wax, bro. Insane 3 saves by Caprile, who so far this season, in my opinion, has been the best goalkeeper in the league, hands down. I haven't seen anyone pull off the saves like Caprile has this season.
It's
thus
true,
far.
and this is a season where some of the top keepers have shown their limitations, for example, or their flaws rather. Like Manyan has been very good this season, but I don't think he's been as consistent, for example, as Caprile has been, funnily enough. You know, Di Gregorio, who normally we hold to a high standard, has looked very nervous on his line
Vanya has
compared-
had his moments as
I
well.
mean, Vanya as well is still kind of like, is he the cemented starter? I think it's starting to look to be more the case. But when it comes to just flat out consistent performances and match saving saves, it's Caprile. man. Caprile's been top.
And this is not the first time. A few episodes ago, we were talking about a match-winning save that he got as well. And Jake, who did I want to replace Manyan in the summer when Manyan was destined to
You
go
said
to Chelsea?
Caprile. I swear to God, you said Caprile. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In the 59th minute, Orban doubled the advantage after a rapid counter-attack by Verona, spearheaded by Belgazi, and Giovanni square ball to gift Orban. This was literally one second Cagliari attacking, the next second Hellas have the ball in the net, a really good counter-attack, and Belgali was really, really good over there. How funny it translated Belgali to Benghazi.
Oh my God.
Yeah. However, that was not enough for Verona, who were on the cusp of their first home victory since the 23rd of February, guys. So obviously it's not gonna happen, right? And the first victory of the season, I believe. And actually, can you just double check that? Because there's one team. No, Parma have one win.
Yes,
Verona
yes.
haven't won yet. 77th minute, Idrissi pulls one back for Cagliari with a bomba clot into the top corner, and that was his first Serie A goal for the 20-year-old. And as the commentator put it, what a way to score your first goal in Serie A for the young boy.
Literally,
20 years old.
Zortea-esque.
Literally, really, really impressive. 92nd minute, Mattia Felici scored the equalizing goal as he worked his way into the box with great dribbling and a neat finish into the bottom corner. That goal looked like that goal that Leao scored against Atalanta, where he dribbled past Scalvini, except he looped the ball over the keeper, Leao. Felici placed it into the bottom corner. Felici, in my opinion, should start for Cagliari every single game. They don't have anyone that can break through and beat players like Felici
But
can.
it might be the same, like bringing. You remember when we used to say like bringing on Luvumbo to just spice things up and just you get someone who's so direct and who has another gear compared to everyone else. You know what I mean? Like Felici is already a very fast player, but against tired legs, he looks even better. And I think this game you bring on Luvumbo and Felici, you're just bringing on two agents of chaos.
Yes, I completely get you, but I think if with the more minutes Felici gets and the more games that he starts, they're gonna aid his development.
That's true.
That's where I
he's already 24, but I think that last season he already had a positive spell, and this season he's proving to be even more consistent, quite frankly. What happened to why didn't Sebastiano Esposito feature? He must not be 100%.
I don't think he
even
was
Luperto.
100%.
I think it could also be the case that they're keeping in the midweek fixtures in mind. Because not starting Luperto and not starting Esposito is very strange. Who
It
do
shows
Cagliari
the
play?
deep squad that they have, man.
They play Sassuolo midweek. Yeah, fair
That
enough.
makes sense. Verona could have been 4 goals up if it weren't for Caprile. That, my friend, is the importance of having a great goalkeeper. He's looking like a phenomenon, and I think it's only a matter of time till he makes a huge move and Cagliari can actually cash in on him, because he is on a fresh contract with them as well, and he's a young Italian goalkeeper.
24 for context.
He is very unlucky that there is the talent between the sticks that there is in Italian goalkeepers. Right now there's Carnesecchi, Di Gregorio, Donnarumma, Vicario, Provedel, and the likes that are battling him for that spot in Italy. But as a 24-year-old, get him in the camp, in my opinion.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I often think that these goalkeepers who play for these smaller sides, man, they have to be. I mean, if you're pulling off saves like this regularly, you know, I mean,
exactly.
The only thing that needs to be tested now is his mentality when it comes to handling the pressure of a bigger team.
Exactly.
Right? Because other than that, I totally get him in the camp. Like, why not? I mean, he's 24. He's one of the youngest of the lot. Carnesecchi's younger than him, right?
I think he's right about that age. I think Carnesecchi's like
but Carnesecchi's
24
better.
as well. Yes, Carnesecchi is better.
Yeah.
Well,
Carnesecchi's another one who actually has been very consistent this season, bro. That's a shout, actually. To be fair, we disrespected him by not.
He's 25, Carnesecchi.
25,
But in my opinion, Caprile has just been mental.
Yeah.
Mental he's been. We've seen Carnesecchi pull off great saves, but these Caprile saves over the past few weeks have been ridiculous.
Crazy.
For this game, I almost felt like I just wanted to copy-paste my notes from Fiorentina Bologna. Very, very similar in that sense. And also, I just wanted to point out that the 2 red nipples on Verona got infected and they've gone green, brother.
Yes, amazing. That's great news.
Because of course
For
Orban
those of
got
you who
the
listen
goal.
regularly, you were enjoying an
Exactly.
inside joke.
Orban obviously got the goal, and Giovanni got 2 assists, which was absolutely huge. I would love to talk more about this game, bro, but we have to move on.
And go check out our swipe post on Gift Orban on Instagram, because he is absolute cinema on Instagram.
Yes, bro.
Now let's move on to Udinese 3 Lecce 2.
Holy fuck.
Fuck, man, we're going to be here all day. To be honest, I don't even mind. It's more like Milan
It's
are
more
playing. that's the
Milan.
problem. Okoye.
And Nick has like a chicken tikka masala waiting for him.
you know
at
what
home.
you're eating yet, Nick?
Smashed turkey.
Mashed turkey.
Why is it always
Smashed
lit?
turkey. Yeah.
Why is it always lit?
Yeah, every time after we finish recording, we ask Nick what's in store for tonight. And he's always like, tikka masala.
Your mom cooks, bro.
Yeah, she does.
Goddamn right.
Unlike
she cooks.
Okoye. Because Okoye, honestly,
He's never
Haslop,
beating the match fixing scandals.
Never.
huh?
He is looking so shaky. It's unbelievable. So Okoye was in goal with Goglio, Chitse, Kabasele, and Sole at the back in Udinese's formidable 3-5-2. Zanoli and Kamara were out wide, with Eklinkamp, Karlstrom, and Atta in midfield. Davis and Zaniolo up front together. Falcone was in goal for Lecce, with Vega and Gallo out as the fullbacks. Out wide as the fullbacks, not out of the pitch. Gabriel and Gaspar as the centre-back partnership, with Berisha and Ramadani as a double pivot. Morente on the left, Pierotti on the right. Helgesen as the attacking midfielder, and Stulic playing up front. Go check out his picture on SofaScore. It is fucking great. Look at
Oh my god, I'm looking at it now.
hilarious. Like, honestly, they did him dirty. So from the start, Udinese looked sharper in transitions. They didn't need the ball to be dangerous. They just utilized space. They found plenty of it there. After 16 minutes, Karlstrom turned into a striker. He dropped his shoulder and let Atta's ball run before curling it in. Then before halftime, Atta burst down the left and whipped in another cross to Davis to head home. It was 2-0 to Atta assists, and Udinese were cruising. At that point, Udinese were playing textbook modern Serie A football. They were compact with the ball. They were explosive without it. The wing-backs pushed high, the midfield sat narrow, and every turnover became an attacking opportunity. Lecce had more of the ball, but Udinese dictated the where and how of the game.
Yeah.
Lecce's reaction came after the break through a Berisha's free kick, which was a beautiful strike, but Okoye could have definitely done better. It was definitely soft goalkeeping over there. And that goal tilted the momentum. Lecce started pushing up their fullbacks and trying to pin Udinese deep, but it also opened up the counter, and that's exactly how Udinese killed it off. In the 89th minute, Bayo broke away and held the ball up as three defenders took chase. He released Buxa perfectly, and Buxa took a touch and passed right between all three of the defenders before dinking it over the goalkeeper, taking off his top and running. He had a black undershirt and a black mask, so he looked like something out of like Zorro or the Phantom of the Opera.
I think when that woman slept with the Phantom of the Opera and he took that tuxedo off, that's exactly what he looked like.
That's what he looked like. Just a raving madman.
Speak once again to me.
Oh, pretty good, bro.
Thank you, man. Jesus, I've been telling you, man. It's about me.
No one believes me, man. I'm actually quite good. So yes, it was 3-1, and then Indri, out of pure rage and frustration, vented by curling in an absolute screamer.
Jeez,
and
man.
then berating his teammates after it had gone in. Basically screaming at them, being like, "That's how you fucking do it! I have to fucking do everything!" Yeah, this was a very good display by Udinese, who looked like a level above Lecce, even though they actually conceded 2. They just need to sort out this goalkeeping situation, in my opinion. But other than that,
Absolutely.
they look great, man.
They have to be in the market for
Yeah.
a new goalkeeper.
I think the basics are there, the fundamentals. The centre backs are very good. They've got a nice playmaker in Atta. And an exciting one in Miller, who they can bring on as well. Up front, Zaniolo's putting in work. At one point, he had a shot that
He
was
did.
so close. It was amazing. Yeah, and to be honest, they're doing well without Lorenzo Lucca as well.
Yeah,
and without
I think
Tuvan,
so.
who they've been relying
I
on
think
for
so.
quite a while.
Davis is really stepping up.
He is.
I think it's a huge season for Davis, and I think he's been consistent. He's been strong, not only from a goal scoring perspective, but even as that big target man, the strong target man that Udinese need in their team. Culturally, they need a big man up top. I think he's completely delivering over there. And just to paint the picture, man, Udinese are level on points with Juve and level on points with the undefeated Atalanta.
Yeah. It's a good start to the season. for sure.
Absolutely.
Fun fact, we pointed out Atta before the season started because he was doing decently in pre-season.
Attaboy.
And here we are. You took him on Fanta.
I didn't take
If
him on
only we take
Fanta.
our own advice.
Hey,
brother.
man, hey, but
He's on a
2
goal, 2
assists in
assists.
this game. The Frenchman, of course.
Sarah has him in her team. I
Of
never
course she
told.
does.
I
Of
never.
course
I
she does.
swear to God, I never mentioned him to her.
I
It's
hate
not like she
her.
watches.
I hate her,
She
man.
just does her research. Crazy.
Of
like.
course, he came up through the ranks with René, moved
Yeah,
to
he's
Metz, and Udinese have had him from the 2024 from last season basically. He was back on loan, however, at Metz, and now they got him back, and clearly that has paid off. They signed him essentially for 8 million euros, so there's definitely a player over there. Keep your eyes on him, not only because he got 2 assists over here, but look at his SofaScore ratings, they're all in the green.
Just watch him play, man. He's super.
Literally really good stuff. Lecce, they're getting close. They're learning how to score some goals at least.
They looked significantly worse than their opponents over here. They looked clumsy at the back. It wasn't a very good display. I think they were outmaneuvered and out-taught by Udinese. But
scrambling at the back. Scrambling.
The good news for Lecce is that they're actually scoring goals. And last season, this wasn't the case. They survived. They survived without
scoring goals. I mean, take that with a pinch of salt, because they found some goals recently, right? If you look at their goals scored this season, Lecce, they've scored 7.
Yeah, that's decent. I mean, for them, for their standards. How many did they score last season? I'll check that.
I mean, Verona scored 4, Pisa scored 5, Genoa scored 4, Parma scored 3. Jeez Louise.
Parma, fucking.
And to be fair, they've only scored 1 goal less than Roma, who are in second.
Yeah. I mean, in the entirety of last season, Lecce managed 27 goals. Very low, huh? The lowest in the league.
Not great.
Yeah, just to compare, relegated Empoli scored 33. And relegated Venezia scored 32.
I miss Venezia.
And relegated Monza, who finished last, outscored them by 1 as well.
Jesus, I miss everyone. Last game, Parma 0, Como 0. Parma have failed to score in 5 of their first 7 match days. I repeat, Parma have failed to score in 5 of their first 7 match days. Along with Lazio, Como is the team that have suffered the most red cards in Serie A, with 2. Parma came into this match after a draw to Genoa, and Como are coming off a huge victory over Juve. Parma were missing Ondrejka, Oristano, Ndai was suspended, Friggin and Valeri. They lined up in a 3-5-2 formation with Zion Suzuki in goal, backline of Valenti, Circati and Del Prato, Brichki on the left, Bernabe on the right, with Ordonez, Keita and Estevez in the midfield, with Pellegrino and Cutrone starting up front together. Como missed Dossena, Roberto and Jesus Rodriguez. Butez was in goal, backline of Smolcic, Carlos, Kempf and Moreno. Midfield 2 of D'Acunha and Perrone, Paz just ahead of them, Voivoda on the right, Kakare on the left and Alvaro Morata up front. Now, Como enjoyed the vast majority of possession but failed to threaten a very organised Parma defence. Parma had the better chances, hitting the crossbar through a Cutrone header after a long throw in the 12th minute and later a Bernabe chance on the half volley. In the 43rd minute, Parma thought they'd broken the deadlock when Ordonez tapped in from after a low cross, but the flag went up immediately. Cutrone had strayed marginally offside in the build-up. In the 80th, Del Prato had a great chance after a free kick routine, but Butez did well to block his strike. So Parma continue to show great signs defensively, because we often grill them about their inability to win games. They've only won 1 this season. They have a decent squad, an experienced manager, of course, but they're really struggling to score goals. But defensively, they've been really solid, and they kept a resilient Como at bay for the entire game. They've only conceded 7 goals thus far this season, and in this match, they actually, now I know the whole complaint as we got from our resident Parma fan as well, they are unable to score from open play. However, we did see, to be fair to the kind of game that this manager brings, Cuesta, we did see really interesting and inventive set plays from corners, from free kicks, and I mentioned too, I was watching Premier League, and every single team has a player that is capable of giving a long throw. In this game, they exercised the long throw, caught everyone off guard in the 12th minute, and Patrick Cutrone hit the crossbar. Of course, Patrick Cutrone last year was at Como, so he would have loved to score that over there. But they are starting to get inventive. I hope they manage to start putting some of these chances away.
The fact that they still managed to somehow create so many good chances without any possession whatsoever, right? This was one of the most positive performances for Parma this season. I think the best one probably.
Apart from their victory over Torino, I would say yes.
I think they performed better without Almqvist, to be honest with you, man. They were more fluid.
Fair enough. I don't disagree.
And even Lovic was out. Maybe that had something to do with it as well. So curious to hear. Your thoughts on this? Spank them in the comments, lads. Of course, smash the
Yes.
like button and everything.
Just a
Um,
note on Como.
Yes,
And then
please.
to be fair, we could close this
Yeah.
episode. I feel like Como were frustrated in this game, and it showed in the way that they were playing. A few rash decisions, which isn't something that we often see from Como. They really struggled to create opportunities
They only
again.
forced 2 saves. on
Yeah.
top of the keeper.
The difference between Como and the top 6 is basically that Como don't have that killer instinct to grind out a result in such circumstances. They
Yeah.
typically have a pause moment of magic because they have a player that's on the cusp, or if not already is, world class. But otherwise, they can be frustrated if they come up, for example, against a resilient low block team. With that being said, we saw the introduction of Baturina. Finally, he came on and he had 15 minutes and he looked pretty damn good. I think he is that kind of player that could help them out. He's a Croatian talent. He's a very, very talented player. If you see his highlights in the Champions League, amazing. Just to...
He's come on a few times, but of course he hasn't really had time to show much, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll start to see more of him, because I did see glimpses of what he can do
He's
over there.
an expensive signing, so
Yeah.
they will play him.
Just to give you a further idea of how this game went, Parma had 241 touches. Como had 784.
Jesus.
So triple, pretty much. Possession, Parma had 29% ball possession. Como had 71.
Christ.
And I still think Parma could have won this game from the set piece routines.
Yeah, that's the most
Positive
interesting
signs.
thing. Yeah, I mean, again, like you've got many players who are capable of getting on the end of that, and maybe with something a bit inventive, it keeps things fresh, and maybe they can get something out of it. I wonder how much time they'll give Cuesta, to be honest with you, because the Parma fans are frustrated on social media. They're not
Absolutely.
happy at all when it comes to their goal scoring record. They believe their team has too much talent to be scoring so little.
Yeah.
We have a very, very quick wisdom with the Wank.
Yes. Just pulling it up. Cue us in, my brother. Wisdom with the wank. So firstly, he's only gone and scored back-to-back hat-tricks.
Yes, that's absolutely mental. Simi has scored back-to-back hat-tricks in the Saudi League. In the
Simi, if you watch, please tell us. Like,
I highly
come on
doubt
the
it.
pod.
I
What
highly
the
doubt
hell?
You think he's watching over 2 hours of our podcast?
Bro, if someone speaks about you every single week on a podcast, you'll find out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Maybe.
Time and season belongs to God. Time and season belongs to God.
And wisdom belongs to
To?
the Wank.
I fucked it. I said two.
Yeah, you
T-
fucked it. You ruined the whole
Wank.
segment. I'm joking.
Yes. What do you think Simi means by this? And we'll go watch Milan.
I'm not sure what he means by it, man, to be honest
I
with you.
think I know.
Yeah.
I think I get Simi.
Yeah.
Time and season belongs to God. So I think
The T
he
is a
meant-
cross.
I think he meant to God.
Yeah.
I think so.
That blew my mind, bro.
Yep.
I thought the T was just a cross. So
Really?
It symbolizes a cross, like Jesus' cross.
Could be.
Hmm.
But he means two. I'm
Okay,
certain.
okay.
He means that, so he's been through hardships and he's often spoken about his hardships, you know, and he came into a situation where he was no longer playing top flight football. He took a gamble, he moved, and he's finding success. Time and season belongs to God.
Hmm.
God owns time
But
and season.
But yes, I mean, if you believe in God, then God owns everything. No, everything belongs to God.
But as humans, I'm really going out on a limb in this one, man. But as humans, we have the one thing we are guaranteed is time. Be it a little bit or a lot, we are guaranteed time. The season, I feel like this could be a little bit of a football, like think outside the box. This season belongs to God. I'm scoring back-to-back hat-tricks.
So
Thank you, God.
experience successes, failures, joys, struggles. Maybe that's what he means by time. And seasons, growth, development, difficulty, waiting. Wisdom with the wank.
Wisdom with the wank.
The
Wisdom has been wanked.
Absolutely.
That's
Yes,
one hell of a wank
brilliant.
that wisdom has just taken.
Exactly. Shall we just do the last one? Sassuolo played. They played Roma. It says play the whole game. Let's just find some comments quickly.
Let's do it. We're really cutting it close. Milan start in 5 minutes, dog.
No problem, man. The listeners, we have to give them the segments that
We have
they
to give
would
them
be
the
waiting
spiel.
for.
I have to give you the spiel. Why not? Let's make this a 5-hour episode.
And name it Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, they're all about Dybala.
There were a few, because I checked them out.
Ooh, Dybala. The kid makes his
Dybala,
eyes look so
Dybala.
green.
Dybala. Let's film him 17 times when he doesn't even play a minute.
Forza Roma from Romanisti, Indonesia. Hopefully next season, Jay It says will join Roma. That's a new one, huh?
Yeah.
Let's find more. The handsome man Dybala's back again, someone commented. Fuck, man, there are no comments this time. Up, here's one. Dybala, I translated it, can you believe it? Dybala's the most underrated footballer. He's always stood out. La Jolla. Okay, flop segment, huh? We're just playing the anthem as our outro at this point.
We've been
Thank you
Serie A
very much.
Spotlight. Thank you very much. See you all next week.
Bye.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.